1, and we are here.
Hi guys, welcome to Simon Says Bet. Sports bet, whatever. I don't even know if we're gonna talk about gambling in this one. Well, but Josh has a few things he wants to discuss.
We'll always throw in gambling. Life's a gamble.
It is.
True
but anyways,
story.
We have a lot to talk about today. We didn't really record last week.
No, we didn't.
We kind of missed a lot, did we not?
We did.
Stanley Cup final, an NBA final, both championships have been crowned. I forgot
Charlotte Checkers, Calder Cup champions.
Calder Cup champions for the Charlotte Checkers.
The oldest, before you get to that, the oldest continually awarded trophy since the mid-1930s. So what you're about to say...
Guess who drank from that motherfucker at Sip the other night?
Has 80 years worth of lips on that thing.
Yeah, my friend was like, dude, you're definitely going to get sick. I'm like, you can't
So
get
do
herpes.
most of the girls at SIP.
So they're like, yo, dude, you're definitely going to get sick off that. I'm like, you can't get herpes twice. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no.
So,
Oh, man.
that was pretty awesome, though. They were down there at the table. They were celebrating, partying it up, pouring beers, taking shots, whatever. And, of course, I have video of me sipping from that cup, which is awesome. So now I have a new goal in life. I want to sip from every sippable championship cup on the planet. So
That sounds very dangerous.
Just so you know, Emmy Awards can hold plastic shot cups in between the wings and the globe.
So that means you're flying out to St. Louis to sip the cup from the Blues.
well, hopefully we have to,
I have a really ridiculous international basketball story involving drinking out of a championship trophy. So before the
long story long?
Yeah, no, long story long. Before the FIBA 19 World Championship in New Zealand, we play a warm-up tournament in Douai, France, or something like that. The worst city I've ever been in my life. So we go over there and we go to play a tournament. In the last game, we played Lithuania, starring Donatas Motiejunas, played in the NBA for a few years. And with 6 minutes to go in the game, we get into a bench-clearing brawl. And we all get into a fight, and it's me and these little Puerto Ricans against this gigantic Lithuanian team full of 26-year-olds. They're never really 26, but they looked it.
Hitting one guy, throwing one of those guys out the way to drop the other guy.
So I run out it was a bench clearing brawl. I was sitting in the moment. I run out, and I'm thinking, man, I'm about to get so overwhelmed here, but whatever. These little Puerto Ricans swarm like bees, and we kicked the shit out of these Lithuanians. I'm talking, they ran off the court, and we had the lead, so they awarded us the trophy. They said, all right, you guys win, game's over. And
Can't be mad at that.
so the guy,
Wait, so you've won an international basketball tournament?
yeah, it was a warm up, but yeah,
But still,
yeah, we won.
That's
we are
impressive.
legit. We have an
I
international.
know, yeah. So
you
I
won by default.
I won.
They
No,
won by
stop.
kicking ass.
Yeah, I won via fourth quarter TKO. Thank you very much.
That's a victory.
man.
No, it's not over. So the owner of the team, the guy who paid for all the money for us to come down here and paid us illegally to play there. I don't play anymore. I'm good.
Well, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
FIFA exists.
FIBA. So,
No, but I mean,
So he comes out on the court. They hand him the trophy. The owner pours 2 beers in it, looks at the Lithuanian team, and just goes, "We kicked your ass." Just downs it at half court. They were like, "All right, you guys need to go."
That's amazing.
And then we got matched up with them in pool play in New Zealand. First round, third game, and won again.
Speaking of ass kicking,
We actually won the game this time.
did anybody expect the Blues to win 4-1 in that final game?
No.
Yeah, I had 3-1.
That was a thorough ass kicking. I mean, they started off 2-0. That game was over. I mean, the Bruins got one in the last period, but even then, it was dominated the whole game. We're sitting there watching it, and for them to come out that strong in Boston, that blew my mind personally. I did not see that coming.
I don't think anyone saw that coming for the batter. So,
I mean, I watched a little bit, and it's like the crowd was like, "We know, we lost. We're just waiting."
I mean, just as soon as that first goal was like just, I knew Bennington was going to be dialed in from there. And man, is there another goalie? I mean, he's got to be top 3 going into
as we've been
next year.
discussing on this podcast, when you're hot, you're hot. And
Absolutely. And
hot goalies win you Stanley Cups. Like, that's
100%.
100% the truth.
And this was a goalie that was rescued by the Blues manager who coached him in the minors and won a title with him. And he'd just been bouncing around and hadn't gotten anywhere. And then it's like, hey, I remember you. You were good. Come on up.
That's what surprised me with Rask, too. I thought Boston, coming home, just you think you're going to get that momentum, especially Game 7 in Boston. I mean, Boston is – we all hate people from Boston. I mean, their sports fans are assholes, but tough place to play in regardless of –
It comes with success.
Yeah, absolutely. The outcome. So, I know we're a week behind on this game. Real quick, though, we do got some numbers up for next year. Who do you guys think is the favorite to win the Cup next year?
Well, this is the thing. Before we get even into this, this is why the Stanley Cup hockey is the best playoff ever, because home home ice advantage doesn't even really matter. You would think that it would, and the crowd can make a difference, but it doesn't seem to matter when a team is hot.
And my friend Stevie has said that for years now, and I've been like, "Oh, it matters, and yeah, you're right."
Well, the
Finally
top
said it. You're right.
The top seed of the Eastern Western Conference and both Stanley Cup finalists last year were all gone in the first round this year.
Well, that's what baffles me. Tampa Bay is already the favorite at plus 675 to win it next year, and
I could see that. I mean, it happens. Really good teams.
It happened to 2
get
years
bounced.
in a row.
It happens. It's not that. I could obviously see why they're definitely the favorites, given what they did during the regular season this year. It was pretty impressive. So,
and that is one of the interesting things about hockey is as difficult it is to win the playoffs. Season teams from year to year usually carry over pretty well.
Oh yeah. And I know we just want to briefly go over this, but I will say, early thoughts. Obviously, there's a lot of time left before now in the beginning of the season. I like Vegas next year. If I were to have to put money on a future today, they're plus 1,000. I think they got screwed by the Sharks in the first series, and I think if it's not for that, I think they win this year. So I think that's going to come back with a big chip on their shoulder for next year. So that would definitely be my thoughts on that.
What are the Kings looking like?
The Kings, I don't like how Bovada set this up. We don't want alphabetical order. We want highest to lowest going forward, Bovada.
So the
Thank
Carolina
you.
Hurricanes are set
The Kings are plus
Canes.
Oh, Canes.
the Canes. The Canes are at plus 3,000.
You have to hit the side.
Something. Hurricanes are at plus
Nobody's
3,000.
ever called him before.
So I think that's
Plus
definitely
3,000.
interesting.
Bet.
Mhm.
I'll do that. I'll throw down $100 on that.
I think going to the West, I think I do like Las Vegas, but I think it's the Vegas and Predators. One of the two that has failed over the last 3 years. I think one of them is going to win that.
Well, that's kind of how it generally tends to go. It's like
It's an ebb and flow thing.
it's
in
almost
hockey.
kind of like politics. Like your time will come.
In the fact that you will get the opportunity.
Yeah,
There's still
to-
the tsunami of a hot goaltender on the other side that could just wipe you out, though.
Yeah,
That's one thing with futures is and they get futures are very marketable for the casinos because look at this, we got how many teams right now in the NHL? 30? So people are gonna get money on most of all those teams, and guess what? Only one team's going to cash. So yes, they're paying out that $100,000 like they paid out to the Blues winner, but all the rest of that money, because there's
that
only
guy.
one.
He kept his ticket, right?
He did.
hard.
There's something fishy
Good
there,
for
though.
him.
Yeah, well, supposedly he
They
arrived.
offered him $41,000 to cash it in the first game. I took it.
He got 75 after, or
Game
was
five.
off.
After
Yeah,
game 5, he was
right.
up to
He did after
75
game
grand. You
five,
know what?
which
Good for him.
I agree.
I'd have took the 41.
Nope,
He lucked out.
There's
but
still
I would've
some
took the
fish
41.
on
You
that
let it roll,
story.
man. Fuck that. You let that shit roll.
You at least hedge. You hedge at least 25 to 30,000 on my opinion.
But somebody who makes that bet and holds on to it for that long,
They're not gonna-
They see it. They see it, and
They're
the,
gonna see it
the whole
through.
100
when
is
is
in
his
their
15
hands.
minutes? I mean, he got his 15 minutes, and and that's what some radio hosts were saying as well. But
It's more than that. He's going to be remembered every time anybody comes close to a bet like that.
well, then
What did he bet? $400?
Yeah,
We should do that every year.
100,000.
Everyone pick a hockey team. To see what the hell
and then
happens.
split it.
Or no.
Maybe. We'll
Hey,
get some,
4 people pick 4 teams. Somebody wins, we split it.
Or pick a.
And then we
okay
have the
with
best
that.
podcast
Put
ever
100
after
each.
that.
100 each. We put all.
It's just us blowing the money.
Whoever wins, we put into a pot. Now,
I guarantee you, though, if between the four, just the nature of hockey, between the four, if we pick 4 teams, one of them will make the finals every year we try this.
then we hedge out and we're making at least half of what we get.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or we do prop swap like our homeboy. So, but that'll be a good segue. One thing.
Start doing that. Pick an EPL team. Whatever.
Hey, that's not a bad idea either. One thing Jared was saying before we started was obviously everything going on with the Lakers right now and odds.
They're the favorite next year.
And that's exactly what he was talking about. So Vegas knows who's going to get the bets. I mean, they can get a good generalization from the public. Okay, who's going to be bet on? Even before the Anthony Davis trade, they were number one. And one of the reasons they do that is just like with Tiger Woods, they don't have to make it a big payout. So they're putting them number one, knowing that what state's right next to Las Vegas?
California.
So what are people from California going there to do? They don't care what the odds are. Just like the guy from St. Louis who was walking out of Vegas and put the money on there, people are going to blindly bet them to win, so they don't have to give extremely high odds. Just like with Tiger, people are going to blindly bet Tiger. So why are they going to give 20-1 when they know they're going to get almost the same amount of bets at 8-1? So And that's just one of their ways. You know, one of my friends always says there's a reason Vegas has all those buildings and has all those
To be
lights.
specific, the question I asked is, it's not that Las Vegas actually believes the Lakers are the favorite to win the NBA title next year. They just know that the fans and the populace as a whole are going to react to that and bet on them. And if they happen to win, they don't want it to be where they actually think they are maybe fourth or fifth best odds and then end up paying out more money than they would need to otherwise.
John actually thinks they're going to win, though.
I think
Well, I mean, there's we'll get to that point later.
We'll get to that here shortly.
But this
First,
way,
credit where it's due, John.
Boom.
You won.
Thank you.
Set
Thank
up a
you.
time. Obviously, today's not going to work, but I will keep the beard growing and.
We'll
man of my word.
We'll live broadcast it. That'd be great.
We still have the T-shirt bet.
if glares could be seen
I got
on podcast,
throttled. Man, I got killed on these finals.
You
man.
were really. I don't know why you were so high on the Warriors, man.
if glares could be seen on podcasts, where the fuck is my appreciation?
Okay, we get it.
When I said Toronto in 5, and it took
five.
23 pointers
the
to
host
keep
always
that
gets the
from
credit
happening.
it did take 23 points from that keep that from happening. And I'm not gonna
Jesus Christ!
I was
And
quick
the
to
thing that
bash him
genuine-
when he was not posting his record, so I got to be quick to give him credit.
Did you say 6?
I think I said 6.
I think you may have said 6.
I think I said 6.
But
there was definitely,
Yeah,
there was definitely
23s.
there was definitely 3
I
records.
lost.
I said 7. So you know.
I
and
will.
I posted it on social media and I got throttled. There's no way that's gonna happen. Like,
Have you been paid yet by those people that like to ridicule everything you post?
Which, by the way,
First
is
of all,
imagine
people, one
that.
second while we're
Bastards.
segueing. You know, if you're gonna
Andrew
bet,
Vella owes me $100 too for an
come
endgame
through
bet.
on your bet, y'all. Like, don't
Endgame?
bet if you're not gonna come
Said it was
through
gonna
on
make
your
$4
bet.
billion.
It just baffles me.
John
money on that? Sorry,
Absolutely.
excuse me.
John totally did put his Venmo in, and it's like pay me on his
I know, I
face
saw
on
that.
social
I like
media.
that. Not a dime yet.
That's
I
amazing.
I
like
haven't
that a
received a
lot.
single dime.
People are shady. We're just gonna blow them up. Everything they comment, we're just gonna blow them up about
From
it
now on, like I'm not. You know, I'm not,
Your
I'm not
response should be that code, the pay you.
every
But
time.
that's going to be my comment to everything because you know what? I have at least 4 people that owe me money right now. All of them are like, you're insane for taking Toronto. I said Toronto in 7 the moment they won their game against
called it.
Milwaukee, and I'm like, you know what? Done. Let's do this.
Well, it's funny you say that about the paying thing. I had an idea once, Jerry. You seem like a pretty tech guy. Maybe you're the person who talked about
No, I
this.
just seem like that.
An app where you do it. It's called Friendly Wager, and so John and I make a bet. Okay, so we bet.
Whoa. Time out. Do not put this idea out there. I like this idea already. Keep it to yourself. We'll talk about this later.
We're gonna edit that part out.
Well, no,
no,
that's
I
fine.
was going to stay in. But I'm just saying, teaser.
With the Lakers being the favorite, who are the other top 3, the top 4 teams for next year?
The
for
Warriors
NBA?
can't possibly still be in the top 5.
I actually
Somebody
heard
had them initially
very-
favored, Westbrook or something like some.
Well, that was right before I think the Anthony Davis trade. They were first.
which
Were
is
they
nonsense.
How?
a very sharp better off of he's on VSiN, Gil, a numbers game. He said he actually already bet Golden State to win next year. And this guy is sharp as could be. I mean, he is sharp as sharp.
Going to what obviously that ESPN article talking about all the disruption within the Rockets has been going on for a month. So obviously the word is probably out on that. So they're expecting the Rockets to implode.
I expected that even without drama.
Well, yeah, even without
he
drama.
kind of did.
Yeah.
I still think with Harden there, no matter what happens with Chris Paul, I still think they're going to win.
Well, the thing is,
until the
if-
playoffs and you
if
have a
they-
game plan skewed to them.
But if they get
Well-
rid of Chris Paul, I think it even becomes better.
Why
for
if
them.
they break? But you know, I think if they get rid of Chris Paul, they can actually end up flipping that into
the
some
favorites.
assets that will work for him.
As of this morning, Bovada, we have the Lakers at plus 250, the Raptors plus 600, Milwaukee plus 650, Golden State plus 9,
Still in the top
Houston
5.
plus 9, Clippers plus 1,000. Sixers plus 1,000, and just like we were talking about, there's
Sixers are too low.
there's nothing
Yeah,
the
I like
Lakers are
Sixers
doing
on
though.
It's because they have three starters are free agents. That's the only reason. But I think they're
talking
going to.
plus
I think they're going to
250
offer.
plus
They're gonna
max-
pay.
Yeah,
It's
they are.
crazy to me.
They're going to have to pay. To
All
keep
of these
those
odds are
guys.
nonsense till free agency hits.
Well,
They're
they
nothing.
really are.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean-
nothing.
I think if anything, and obviously all these teams had to make decisions on paying to keep people back. I think Toronto winning made the decision for the Sixers to pay to keep all their starters
Because they were
easier.
a basket away.
Easier.
A
Four
basket
things
away.
last.
bounces away. Last shot, game 7, 4 bounces away.
Still counts.
And
I know it does. I'm just saying that
it was close. I mean, and they put Toronto to 7, and even though Golden State went to 6, only game 6, and it was kind of even though Golden State won 2 games, those were kind of Raptors.
Yeah,
games.
I don't know if Golden State could have scored a point in the paint with Embiid sagging off Draymond Green. Like
No.
it would have been a tough series.
Who do we think's last?
I mean, they would.
Who's last?
Dead last.
Betting odds. Yep.
Dead last. Give me a
Phoenix.
There's 2 people tied. There's 2 teams tied.
No,
I don't think it's Phoenix.
Well, because Phoenix does have a shitty pick. Wait. Oh, Conley's going to get traded. After that, it would be the Grizzlies, but not with him still there.
second. No.
Chicago and Phoenix.
Yeah, Chicago, I'd say.
Yeah,
Chicago's
Phoenix.
Washington.
Ooh, Washington and Phoenix.
Y'all right on. I mean, Phoenix and the Grizzlies are tied.
Oh, so that was Grizzlies.
Well, they're rebuilding.
Yeah, they're gonna trade Conley. That's factored
They're
in.
going to start a rebuild, so that's easily going to happen. But I mean, honestly, the next 11 days for the NBA, I love NBA free agency off season. It's almost my favorite period.
This
of
is the first time in years where the playoffs and free agency has been fun. It's a great year for basketball.
It really has been.
I'm still sticking with what I had said before, except for Kyrie. I think almost every team with their almost every big free agent stays where they are.
I don't think so. I genuinely think someone's gonna. I think Durant is not gonna be a Golden State. I don't think he opts in. I think he's gonna sign a long-term deal.
Oh, I think both of those things are going to happen
you do or
with
don't
Golden
think?
State.
I don't know about that with Golden State and
I don't know.
Clay.
The thing with Kawhi is, I mean, are the Clippers? Is the supporting cast really as good as the Raptors?
Well, here's the
Younger
thing,
and
though.
better, I think.
But-
Better? They're younger, but not better.
They're
with
not
the
better.
prospect of
They're
being
not
better.
They're not better in the front court yet.
So
I
maybe-
mean, Harrell is great. I love Harrell.
But Ibaka?
Well, here's the thing. Oh, and with Ibaka and Siakam playing up front. But here's the thing, though, is Kawhi is 8 years into the league. He signs a 2-year deal because at 8 years into the league, he's eligible for 30% of the salary cap. He signs that 2-year deal with the championship team. They make another run. The East is still the East. Milwaukee could be dramatically worse. Philadelphia is the same.
They say this morning Horford is gone.
I saw that
yesterday.
No,
But it was later in the day.
He was opting out, and that they were going to try to come to a deal, but they're apparently not close, and
Yeah.
he is going to play somewhere else.
No,
sounds like
Woj came out last night saying
Yeah,
he's
that's what
done.
he's
not
he was
signing
talking
with
about.
them. Yeah.
No, the original thing was he was just going to opt out and sign for longer years for less yearly money, more money overall.
I didn't think
but
that
now
was
it's
going to
not.
happen. When the moment I saw he was opting out, I was like, he's not going to stay with them.
But with the
Kyrie Irving ruined the Celtics.
yes,
No, I don't
yeah,
think
no,
so.
yes,
No,
oh, yeah.
1,000%.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone was happy till he came back.
I don't disagree with that, to be honest. I think Brad Stevens is good at getting a culture together. I mean, look like what he did with Butler the year they won. I mean, they didn't have any.
They didn't. They made
Larry
four
won.
They
consecutive.
finished
Superstars.
second twice.
Lost to Duke. Thank you very
They
much.
had Gordon Hayward. What do you mean they had no stars?
They
Guy's
had-
an NBA All-Star.
That was a six inches to the shorter, and that ball's straight net.
I mean,
Oh, the half-court shot?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
time out though. I mean,
Great game, by the way.
Hayward
That Duke team had no business winning championship.
Hayward's not a superstar. I mean, he had one
In
year.
college,
he had one
if you're-
good. Okay, he's had one or two good
In
years.
college, he was a
He was an
beast.
absolute superstar. I played against him in New Zealand. He was every bit of a stud.
Even though I just butchered the hell out of that, I did forget Butler lost. Regardless, was they had the team environment, and he was able to build a team to where it's not selfishness. And Kyrie wants to be the guy. He doesn't, he doesn't want to share. If he thinks that Rozier needs to come in for a few minutes, Kyrie doesn't want to sit. And Brad Stevens, honestly, you never want to lose a talent like Kyrie. But I think if
Yes,
we
you do.
could get inside Brad Stevens' head, I don't think he would be. That's not going to ruin him if he loses Kyrie. The Horford thing's
Horford's
more
worse.
surprising. Yeah, that's
a
surprising.
loss.
Took the words out of my mouth there.
Your defensive anchor, your rebounder, your second leading scorer over the past couple of years.
your team captain, your heart. To finish the Kawhi Leonard thing, if he signs a 2-year deal in Toronto, then he becomes eligible at his 10th year for 35% of the cap, and it still gives the Clippers 2 more years to put other smaller pieces together without actually expending a lot of money. So it could be a double move to maybe win another title there, and then go to the Clippers to finish his career with a 4-year max deal at 35% of the cap.
Where does Horford go?
Well, before we jump in that, let's go around the table. Let's all
Well,
put
Milwaukee could be an interesting place if Brook Lopez leaves.
Yeah, but he won't.
He won't take that kind of
Well,
blow.
the entire reason he's leaving is money, so it's not happening.
He's not going to go there.
I'd love if he went to the Lakers.
Let's go around the table. Who
Lakers
do
or
you think
Houston
Kawhi's
would be
going?
a good fit for him. Houston would be an amazing fit.
Yeah,
for
but
him.
what are you going to ship out?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you don't.
Chris Paul ain't going nowhere. They got
Celtics
they
don't
got to
want
buy him out. That'd be the most expensive buyout in history.
Let's go around. Where do you guys think Kawhi ends up?
Toronto.
2 year, either a 1
One
plus
or
1
two,
or
yeah.
a 2 plus 1.
I
Either
say
way, he's
I say
going
a
in 2
1
years.
You're
plus
talking
1.
next season, so
Because he's
you're-
what, 27?
20 yes.
I think
27.
them winning that championship definitely has.
He's 1 year older than Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is being seen as the guy that tips the entire NBA. Kawhi's more accomplished.
Davis rarely has winning
Kawhi has
seasons.
2 titles and 2 Finals MVP.
Three finals appearances in
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
But
two
2 finals championships.
MVPs.
But he hadn't emerged, really. He was really young for that first one. And the only other players to have finals MVPs on 2 different teams are Kareem and LeBron. It was
Yeah,
pretty
so,
good
I mean,
company.
Yes.
Well, Kawhi is a top 3 player. I mean,
Are you dropping him that low?
With Durant's Achilles, he's easily 1 or 2.
well, no, I'm just saying. as of before the finals,
Yeah.
I would say he was probably top 3.
Well, you say that, but the year that he was injured, Zaza Pachulia changing the entire face of the NBA.
Zaza, cheap shot.
He was second in the NBA in percentages and everything, and he was first in 3-point percentage, and he was still one of the 2 best defensive players in the NBA.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
even he might have been the
He
second
also has the
player.
highest winning percentage in NBA history.
Over 8 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was also kind of playing with the Spurs, who was winning 50 games.
Yeah, but the guy is
routinely.
the guy is ahead of his Magic Johnson. He's
Yeah.
ahead of the Showtime Lakers. I don't care who he's playing for.
But no, he also
Who when he joined Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
he dropped down to what 14 or
Yeah.
17
I mean,
in the draft.
I-
I mean, and he wound up on a really good situation.
What's a better situation, Tim Duncan or Kareem? I mean, they're both up there, but Jesus.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like,
and the Lakers also had there was like 3 other future Hall of Famers on that Lakers team when he
well,
was
those 3
drafted.
Hall of Famers on that Spurs team when they signed there, they were coming off championship runs and all that shit. So I mean, like, is
Tony Parker really a Hall of Famer?
yes, he
International.
100%.
Yeah, that's why him and Manu make it. But as far as NBA careers go, they're
both-
like they wouldn't make the NFL Hall of Fame if this is football.
I do think well the NFL Hall of Fame is the garbage one because you have to name 5 and then no more than 8.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
But,
Let's not talk about that. Hall of Fame.
Manu, actually, I think Manu might, because if you go through that time period, and Kobe Bryant is the best 2 guard when he played, who's the second best shooting guard of that team? You get into mess with Ray Allen in that
What
discussion.
in the league?
In that time period when they played,
Dwayne Wade.
That was more or less the last half.
I guess,
I mean,
yeah.
from the
Last half of the
90s.
board early.
Manu came in 2000. Wade came in 2003.
Yeah. So that's. But then you get to Manu, and
Yeah.
then you get to Wade, and so I mean, he's in the top 3 of his position throughout most of his career.
Reggie Miller was at the end of his career when he got there, I guess.
But he was never the defense. I mean, Manu was even a little better at defense, but he was never a dribbler or ball handler, distributor, or rebounder. He was
Doing
a great
anything.
shooter.
Manu did everything. He also kind of.
Are you guys taking Manu Ginobili over Reggie Miller?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I was about to
not.
say.
Dumbest
Oh,
thing I've
Well,
ever-
yeah.
are
well,
we-
that's what I thought they were getting
Come
at.
on.
And Manu
If
also,
we're playing now, absolutely not, because 3-pointers are so much
Yeah.
more valuable.
and Manu, given what I mean, the Euro step.
I don't know if they were
Are you
more
put-
valuable.
Are you putting
everyone
Reggie in
shoots
the
him now.
West because he's not nearly as effective without playing the Knicks?
This whole East-West thing, I think, took a big shit this year. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it did.
And I told people that before the season. I said Golden State and maybe Houston, and I said the rest of the teams are in the East.
Oh, I completely agree. But I mean,
Do they have any? Are they have any odds of likely trades destinations for draft day? Because that'd be kind of interesting.
I'm kind of looking at several things, but while I'm bringing this up,
while he's looking right now, the the Pelicans are still trying to shop that 4.
I think that's a
the
mistake.
I
The
agree.
big rumors they want to pair up and try and get RJ.
no, that's good.
I think that's a great. That's
But
not a
Minnes-
mistake.
Memphis
you just
is
trade one
not-
of those future first rounders.
Yeah, no,
throw it in.
No, you can get that. I mean,
Well, the thing that the one that I saw, it's like the original. It's like, oh, they're trying to move the 4. That's dumb because you don't want a veteran or a contract on
no,
that.
they're trying to move that 4 to get into the.
Well,
top
actually, the other
3.
thing I've seen possibly like those futures and something else to get to the 2. But Memphis doesn't want anything that New Orleans has except what they won't give up. So I mean, that's kind of weird.
Well, as we were discussing earlier in our little,
Although it's the Knicks spot that you win, and again. They're the idiots that can be had at the table. When you sit down at the draft table, you're like, who are the dumb people?
You may not have to do anything. They may just not take RJ.
That's
It's the Knicks. They've done worse.
Hold on, time out. What have I been saying now for several weeks now? There's a possibility that the Knicks are going to nick and not take RJ.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like I do think I like that guy from Virginia, Hunter.
Yes.
he just absolutely plays winning basketball.
Yeah, but he's also his biggest knock is his age.
Which is a dumb thing.
He's a
a
dumb thing.
sophomore.
what's kind of weird to me is they have Morant going number 2, obviously to Memphis, and they're still going to put them at
Morant's
last
a sophomore, isn't he? Or is he a freshman?
Morant's a
to win
sophomore.
that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. I mean, obviously Zion's the overwhelming favorite. One thing I do want to touch on that we didn't get to go over, speaking with the finals, you guys asked why I was on the Warriors, and I think it was more of a, you can't beat them, join them, and obviously being a Cavs fan and seeing the way, and watching a lot of Golden State basketball, due to that, it's why I thought it was going to happen, but I do want to give some credit. Everyone thought Golden State were, big babies, and, they showed some fucking grit during these playoffs, man. Clay hobbling on a torn ACL to make those free throws. Like, what in the hell? I wanted Game 7 personally, so that really – they're up in my book after that. Even Curry, I mean, there was in Game 5, there's less than 2 minutes left. They're down by 12, down by 14, and he is still diving for loose balls. And
Well, they were down by 6 with 2:37 to go, and they come back after scoring 9 straight on 3-pointers by he and Klay Thompson. But let's not miss the point that with 6 seconds to go, 2.5 seconds to go, Steve Kerr designs a Brad Stevens type play, overloading the near side of it, doing the leaving the other side of the court completely wide open for the lob.
Beautiful screen
to the best second passer on that. Immediately gets to the ball to Curry, coming right off the screen, who squares up, and the guy does come over to contest, but it was a clear open
That's the best
shot.
Look, the best look he's had all series.
It's the best look you can ever hope to get in a championship game that far from the basket when everybody knows that you need something like that.
I thought it was cash. I was like, shit.
I did too. I thought that was like, oh God, he just won the game.
I didn't.
Well,
I also, you know how I feel about Curry.
You didn't, because you were hoping with the heart of a fiery son that he would miss that for the rest of his life.
I will say one thing I do admire about you, John. You stand by your damn stance. The whole series,
yes.
you have
no matter
waiver.
how,
So
yeah. He stands by any stance, no matter how idiotic.
And,
I
and,
respect
no.
that.
You want to go to the idiotic stances?
No. I'll give you the information why. The reason why I thought it was going in, because right before that they gave the stat that John will give to throughout eternity.
Oh, the 0 for 8.
Going into that, who's 0 for 7, now 0 for 8 in the final 30 seconds of a playoff game to take the lead. Not even to win a game, not even game-winning shot.
The kid,
30 seconds to go.
The kid is not very clutch.
Well, it tells you two things. One, they don't play a lot of close games.
That is true.
That's the big thing. If he's only got 8 attempts, they don't play a lot of close games.
You ever said that Curry's a closer? I mean, is that one thing we've put with him? Certain guys attach that with.
Here's the thing about Curry is my biggest gripe with him in my entire time I've been following him is that he's a 2-time MVP and the first unanimous MVP ever. At no point do I ever think he was ever the most valuable player on his team.
He was absolutely the most valuable player. He was the most valuable player in the NBA that year.
2016?
I don't know about that.
If he's not there,
just
nobody's...
2016. He wasn't the best player, but he was the most valuable player.
He's the most valuable player. People aren't if he's not playing, people aren't watching the NBA.
Well,
if there was a 6'8" shooter doing most of the things that he had, it wouldn't have the cultural impact that he did as the son of an NBA player who's smallish and shooting these ridiculously far shots and making the Oklahoma City victory at half court changed the entire way that people watch Golden State. Now they just want to see the ridiculous, and he does it.
I get that.
I remember that shot.
Oh my!
I do too.
I was driving. We were driving. I was working the AAC cross country championship in Birmingham, Alabama, after leaving Charlotte after the CIAA, right before the hail of bullets on the van in Uptown.
I remember that.
And as we get there and we're checking into the hotel at 6 a.m. for a 7 a.m. call, we see the highlights of that. And I watched this and it's like, is this from like a week ago or like last year? And then they're going over to the game. And this is how and you see the back and forth. There's like 3 lead changes in the previous 3 possessions. And you're like, that's not how the game ended. And they go over. It's like, oh my God, that is ridiculous.
Well, for me, it was Curry is the fact that I just think he's not the most important piece on his team. And it kind of goes back to the whole Brady-Manning debate. Like, Brady goes down, that team still wins 11 games. Manning goes down, boom, they collapse. Generally, given if that team had Clay, Durant, and also, let's say, Green, no Curry, guess what? You swap out almost any point guard in the league, that team still wins 50 plus, 60 plus even.
I know what you're
so
going.
I'm just saying, like
that has more to do with the construction of the team than the ability of the player.
The construction of the team, as well as the let's just say the system that's in place for him to get his shots. But I'm just saying.
But without Curry being able to shoot the ball from 30 plus feet, the way that teams defend them changes completely.
Well, that may be the case. But I'm just saying, you take Curry and make him the centerpiece of any team, get rid of those 3 guys, guess what? They're not going to. I personally, once again, let's go back to why.
So you're going to take out 400 made threes that season?
I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about what I made.
400.
I'm going to say what I had said in our little chat. I think if it's just Curry on that team next year, they don't make the playoffs.
Well, it's Curry and Green.
And I said,
Green,
boom.
but Green's the problem. Green's regressed so much in the regular season, at least.
Playoff Green. But the thing is, if he's the only guy there, no Durant, he's happy. He's going to play. He's going to play out of his mind. I think Green is that competitive. But I'm telling you right now, and I said it in my social media, I said it in our chat. If Curry's the only person on that team, they become the Hornets of the West.
Well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is he's going to get. No, this is what's really going to happen. He's going to have a huge workload, and he's going to get hurt.
All right, let's go through some.
He doesn't have the frame to handle that kind of workload.
He's going to get hurt.
That's what he just.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Well, then you say yes.
You're right. And
you know who else I think is going to get hurt this year? James Harden. Too many years, too much.
Anyways, let's get on before we talk about theoreticals of who may or may not get hurt. NBA draft odds for tomorrow. So we got some cool little props here. This is very interesting. Over under 2.5 international players drafted in the first round.
Over.
Well,
There's a kid from Georgia. There's a kid from France, and there's
another kid named Luca. I forget his name.
Yeah,
I don't know what
no. He's from
Croatia.
he might be. He's Croatian.
Actually, no. This might be the year that the under, because this is shockingly a good year for college with a couple of sophomores, because Hunter stayed,
I get
Morant
that, but you
stayed.
got Dumbuya, you got Luca, and there's another kid from Georgia. There's a center from Georgia that's projected. I've seen him,
and even Culver stayed. So I mean, and there's several.
I'm saying over.
I still say over.
30 picks.
Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot, and given.
Some teams will not draft international players.
Yeah, we got some fun ones here. I'm just going to highlight the big ones. How many trades will happen on draft day? Over under 12.5.
That's high.
That seems high to me
high.
as well.
Somebody knows.
Somebody knows.
And they're juiced out the same. It's minus 120 each way.
I mean, has the Davis trade gone through yet? Technically, it hasn't. It hasn't. So that may count on draft day.
Does a 3-team trade count as one trade or 2 trades?
I would assume one, but I don't know the official on that. How many Virginia Cavaliers players will be taken in the draft? Over under 2.5.
I was gonna say 3. There's 3 kids that are in there that could possibly get drafted.
Yeah, but there's only one that was the difference between a first round choke and a title.
There's one that definitely is. Well, the point guard guy will get drafted in the second round.
Oh, we're getting real juicy here. Here you go, John.
I'll say under in Virginia.
Zion Williams, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish be drafted in the top 10 picks.
Yeah, easy.
How high easy do you think?
Well, no.
You guys don't think Reddish could fall?
I definitely think he could fall.
I think Reddish could fall.
Depending on trades.
The new rumor is that the new rumor right now is actually that Atlanta drafts him at 5.
Well, that's the thing I've heard. I've heard Atlanta for a while.
Poor Trae Young.
Minus I just read something.
I know he could have totally
5
been
seconds
top 10.
ago that Reddish, that one mock has us Cavs taking Reddish. No, that's minus 1,000 on the yes for all 3 of those being in the top 10. Now we get a little bit more juicier. Will Zion, Barrett, and Reddish all be drafted in the top 5? Plus 450 on the yes.
That's a reach.
I take that bet.
That's the reach, though. But if there's 12 plus trades, maybe somebody's moving in.
At plus 450, I take that bet. Absolutely. I
don't think he's a top 15 player. Do people not watch the games?
Williams, Barrett, Reddish in the top 5.
His name is Williamson.
Well, no, I've seen that. I've seen the Cavs. The big rumor.
We're arguing over things when I'm trying to tell John the numbers.
The Cavs have already. The Cavs are now rumored to be wanting to draft Reddish. Then you got RJ at 3, which is RJ's going top 5 guaranteed.
He's going no worse than 3.
No worse than 3 guaranteed. And Zion's clearly the number 1 pick in this draft.
I think that.
Why is that yes so high? That makes me think a trade could.
Somebody's looking for
someone
that.
Wants Hunter.
Well, see, I mean, the Reddish is like Chris Bosh with the Heat. It's like, man, he doesn't look that good. I mean, he does a couple of things all right, but then you put
Bosh
him.
looked fantastic in Miami. I watched every game.
I mean, he fit what they needed to do, but he had to change the way that he played. But at Toronto, he was an all-star. He was a top 10 player. And so maybe that's what they're looking with Reddish, is his skills were hidden behind these other guys.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean,
it overlapped with those.
If you guys have done your homework on that video on Zion, basically what they're saying, what he was doing at Duke.
We all rolled our eyes, so everybody knows.
Oh, my God. John is ready to have Zion's kids right now.
This is my favorite. This is the best bet I've read in a long time. Will the New York fans boo the team's first draft?
Yes.
Absolutely.
If it's RJ?
If it's RJ, no.
Yes, it's plus 155. No,
I don't think they don't boo RJ Barrett. What RJ did last year.
Let me think about this. It's still the Knicks.
It was basically.
Is this specific? How many picks do they have in the draft?
No, they mean the third, their first pick, because if they could trade.
Well, if they trade, they definitely.
They're definitely booing.
Hard boos on a trade.
If they trade that 3
spot, you guys with this one right here.
What?
Top 3. I want you guys to name top 3 players going into next season to win the NBA. 2018, 2019.
The regular season MVP?
Why would they have odds for this? They haven't announced the MVP yet this year. You can still bet on this year's MVP.
It's Giannis.
Giannis might. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense now.
Now,
why?
hold on, time out.
It's terrible how they moved it
over.
after the finals. It's terrible how they moved it.
That's ridiculous.
They have a trophy. They have a ceremony.
They would do it like a TV show.
Drake hosted it.
But given the fact that they moved it till after, they should include playoffs and finals.
They should. Nobody wants to see a regular season award after we just watched the postseason collapse.
Exactly. Guess what happens? Leonard is clearly the MVP at this
How
point.
many dunks will Zion Williams have during his first NBA regular season game? Over under 3.
Over. Oh, I was going to
game
over in the first game.
6.
I thought the over under should be 5.
Yeah, I think he gets.
I'll think it's 3 for the first quarter.
I think he catches the lob the first play.
No.
Nobody's guarded that yet.
Here's the thing. Lob first play, yes. Second attempt, he's put on the ground. he still gets his dunks.
We don't
don't
know the schedule
yet.
Big,
No, we
big
don't know
time.
the schedule.
Like, if he plays Toronto and Serge Ibaka's there and Gasol are down there,
they're gonna keep.
they're gonna check his ass.
That's interesting.
He weighs more than no, first of all, it's a lie. He does not weigh more than Marc Gasol. I saw him at the parade.
Gasol's a big dude.
Yeah, Gasol's every bit of 290
See him
at
chug
least.
the bottle of wine.
Yeah, well, you see the gut on him, and he's taller than me. There's no way I weigh more than him.
The only thing more impressive than the bottle of wine was you see that kid the other day catch the
He's Spanish, though.
fly ball.
He's been drinking that
in
since
the
he was 3.
outfield. He barehanded caught the ball in the outfield and then chugged his beer.
I saw that.
I saw that. That's amazing.
That was beautiful.
That was.
Wow.
That's the play of the day here. That's the play of the day.
I've
That
always-
guy was.
Well, let's go back to.
Well, okay. So, what are the better? This is the odds. This is what I want odds on. Opening night is it going to be New Orleans at the Lakers, or the NBA just going to go ahead and let's go ahead and get this out, or they're going to save that for Christmas? Well, but New Orleans won't be seen as a playoff team, so they'll save the Lakers one for either Golden State or Toronto or something.
They're going to sign that 8 spot.
No.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, no. The 8th spot is Golden State and LA because Klay Thompson will be back.
Did you forget about the Sacramento Kings?
That's
They're
true.
coming.
Where the Sacramento's picking? Where's Sacramento picking?
They were just outside the playoffs, so
They're probably like, well, I think they're. Well, no, don't they have a trade that could drop them out of the top 10? I thought.
Because if they could get Hunter or Culver, that could be their defensive wing that could really help them go.
No,
I mean it won't be Hunter,
They
but
don't
if they
have
could
a
get
pick.
Culver,
They do not have a pick in the lottery.
Atlanta has
what they give
2,
it up for?
right.
Healed? Did they give it up in the buddy
they
trade?
They traded away that pick in the past. I think it was either the Pelicans or one of those other teams
How
involved.
many picks do the Pelicans have?
Pelicans only have 1.
Yeah.
Atlanta has 2.
Yeah, no, they lost that first round pick this year.
I think Atlanta
So,
may have a part of that.
It might be Atlanta.
If
who
they
has-
did it for Buddy Hield,
with the Trae Young, right? With
it is Atlanta.
and
it's Atlanta because that's why Atlanta has the 8 and the 10.
yeah.
Ooh.
And Atlanta's trying to shop those.
Or no,
two
that
picks.
was from Dallas because of the Doncic, because Doncic was actually drafted.
That was Luka.
Yeah, was drafted by Atlanta, and they traded with Trae Young.
Well, further on RJ Barrett, I'm just reading now on ESPN that the Knicks actually rejected a offer from the Hawks for the number 3 pick. So
8 and 10 for 3 is a terrible trade.
Oh, terrible. Especially for a 3-person draft.
No, in a alleged
in my
3-person
opinion,
draft.
It's too, I think
no.
it's too,
We
in
literally
my
just saw
opinion.
the Raptors win a title with not one top
Oh
15
no,
pick.
I know, I agree, but I mean, it's like these
Kawhi
3
had no
guys.
business dropping in that draft. There's reasons.
Well, no,
that-
he absolutely
Marc
did.
Gasol was a second rounder.
going beyond what. Like, if you looked at the drafting, like the projections and everything, and where he was ranked as far as the position goes and everything, all season that year he was ranked in the top 3.
But
and then for what I'm not quite sure if it was an injury or something dropped him out.
He was at San Diego State, and for the way that the NBA was played then, what he did wasn't seen at the super heroic level he did. It's like, oh, everybody can kind of play some pretty good defense and kind of shoot pretty well, and it's a 6'5" to 6'9" wing player is everybody in the NBA. You have to do what he does to stand out from that, or be LeBron, but you can't see that. You can't see that in college because of the nature that things play, especially because of the nature of his personality.
I'm talking about given projections and everything. What people were predicting during that season, they were predicting him to be in the top 10 at least. And for whatever reason, GMs overthinking themselves as always. Some people, scouts overthinking themselves. He dropped out of the top 10.
Well, again, that was one of the things. The easiest thing to find in the NBA is that 6'4" to 6'9" wing player. So what you're looking for is the point guard that's a difference, or the big guy that makes a difference. So there's
at
probably
that point
teams,
when he was drafted,
there's probably teams
the
that are looking for
dynamic
the
of
big guy, the point
shifted
guard.
tremendously
Because
since that draft.
which draft was that?
That's the Cody Zeller draft.
So it's center again.
For
what
us,
yes, but I mean,
as a Hornets fan, for me, that's the Cody Zeller.
But I mean, that's
draft.
when you go through and you're like, oh, okay, so that pick was based on
that was the
needing
same
a
year.
center.
Giannis came out the same year,
And he was the pick before then, because I think Giannis was like 13th, and if Kawhi was 14th or something like that. Again, that's picking height, because you don't know what Giannis is going to do. You can see that he has the ability to possibly be that, but you're picking a 7-footer over a 6'7"
Well,
guy.
as I've always said, I've always told the story. I was watching that draft at, I think it was Hawthorne's, and I remember I'm a draft nut. I like to watch kids and YouTube clips and yada yada. And I remember watching
Play
Giannis.
basketball.
Yeah, I watch. Yeah, I like. Yes, and I mean, I remember seeing Giannis. And I'm like, I've seen this kid on YouTube, and then like I kind of saw him. He was at the draft that year, and you're like, okay, wait a second. I never really actually had an idea of his measurables, and I saw his measurables when they were talking about it. I'm like, okay.
Well, see, that's one of the things though is if Giannis is the international Zion in that's a person who had this YouTube following and highlight clips. You're like, this person can't actually do this stuff, but because he was in Europe, then there was less credit given to him because of the thought of the level of competition. It's like, oh, it's not the same, and it is not the same. But it's a different type of competition anyway, in the way that European and international players learn basketball and the way that American players learn basketball. There's more structure in the way that European starts with the academies and the coaching and everything quicker. In the United States, it's like you get a ball, you see a basket, and you start playing, and then you just play opponents, and then you learn based on that. And as you get into that middle stage of high school, that's when you get the coaching in the AU.
Excuse me, I was wrong.
And more structure.
No, Giannis was 2013. Kawhi was actually 2011. That was the Kyrie year.
So Kyrie goes first.
And
then there's not really a
followed
lot
by Derek Williams, who destroyed Kyrie and Duke in the NCAA tournament that year.
Derek Williams from
he was to Arizona.
Oh yes.
A Kyrie that only played 9 games. He was hobbled.
And he played his first 5 and then the playoffs and the tournament.
Derek Williams got drafted too because of
Minnesota,
what he
right?
did. Yeah, he went over what he did to Duke in that NCAA tournament and why he went second.
Arizona defeating Duke in the NCAA tournament was the day that I saw Prince play in Charlotte, because I watched that game on my phone going back on the light rail. I watched that game
at a bar. No, that was the year we took Kemba and Bismack in the same year. And then Clay won 11.
Solid draft.
And Kawhi won 15th. Vucevic.
The guy in Orlando who's an all-star this year?
Yeah, he's an all-star and he's a free agent.
Well, no, it's Serbian, not Croatian, so I think it's Vuvicic, not Vucevic.
It's Vuvicic. Vuvicic.
He went 16th that year. And then Tobias Harris, we drafted him, and then we traded him, went 19th.
What did they get for that Tobias Harris trade?
That was Jason Richardson went out.
Yeah,
that was Richardson came, but then Harris. But then Harris immediately came back.
No, we brought in what's his face from Milwaukee. We brought in Corey Maggette.
But then he got shipped out.
That was Maggette trade
like a year later.
Yeah, we brought in Corey Maggette, who was a firecracker on offense at the time, and I hated that trade. Then again, if you guys haven't noticed, I don't like anything the Hornets do. So,
especially when they trade away Duke players.
For that.
Well, Frank Jackson last year, we traded him away. I'm like, oh my god, we just drafted a point guard who can sit and learn, maybe go to the D League.
No,
and now we traded to the Pelicans. Jimmy Butler came out the same year.
Pick 30,
right?
Where
do you think Butler's going to end up this year?
And Bojan
Bogdanovic. Butler's going to be offered a max by the Sixers.
Philly.
I agree.
I think everyone stays in Philly. They have to know they were a basket away. I think.
And going to which is the main reason. And
I don't
think
JJ though.
No, I think he stays.
You do?
He lives in Brooklyn. I mean, he is Brooklyn.
He's a podcaster.
Yeah, and he stays in Brooklyn.
JJ.
He takes his train. I think he takes a train to the Sixers often or whatever. But he's not going. He is determined he's an East Coast guy. That's why I went with the Sixers. He wanted to go to East Coast.
I don't know though if the Lakers are calling.
He would have stayed.
If they don't,
he could have signed the Caldwell Pope contract 2 years ago for the $21 million for the 1 year and then the 11 last year, the last 2 seasons, and stayed. He didn't want to stay there. He did those 1 year deals with 15 and 15 with the Sixers because he wanted to be on the East Coast. And he knows. He also knows that the nature of that team and the Sixers,
they need him.
Oh, they need him.
Whereas the nature over there is he'll just become.
No, he spreads the floor for them immediately.
He would, but he'll become like one of 9 guys that they eventually get. So it'll be just a rotation of whoever's there.
Well, no, but the thing is, if they end up not getting that third superstar,
he'll have already signed with the Sixers.
I don't.
And
we'll
do we think Kemba's just saying he wants to stay with the Hornets to get the money, or do we think he's really invested, or now that there's more shaking up?
I don't fucking care. Let him go. Don't offer him a contract.
I have to think Kemba Walker wants to win some games, man.
He has to want to win.
He was such a competitor in college.
It's
been a long time of losing. You have to imagine think about how frustrated John is about all the moves. How frustrated is Kemba?
I'm not even I don't even play for the fucking team, and you've seen this front office routinely.
Were you going to
finish
everything. That sentence that's like, I'm not even a fan, so you're just ripping?
I was about to say I'm not even a fan because I'm about to not be a fan.
But here's one of the things, and this is my Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson analogy thing. It's like we look at everything in the basis of the lens of winning the games and being the champion. But there can only be one champion each year. That's 12 to 15 players. It's typically a certain number of teams have an opportunity, especially in basketball, even less in baseball than other sports. There's also the fact of, like, he could potentially sign a $200 and something million contract that wins for him and his family for as long as any of them live.
This is true.
And playing basketball for a profession and not ever having to work, that is also winning. So, I mean, There are different things to win.
Seeing Kemba Walker
he does have a national championship. It's not like he hasn't won things, and it's not like being
Carmelo has 2, and look at how they look at him.
Well, but that's different because he blew up a championship caliber team in Denver to go over there and then ran off. There was an article today. There was a YouTube video that I watched today talking about Jeremy Lin's championship because D'Antoni was the coach then. And how the offense worked better with Lin, with moving everybody around because they still had Amari Stoudemire, they still had Tyson Chandler, and that they were much better moving to the hoop with a point guard who could pass in the ball, and they had that winning streak. But then Anthony was not getting the credit because they were winning when he was hurt, and so he blew up. He got rid of D'Antoni, he blew up the rest of the team, and then they just stunk. Mm-hmm. He's still one of the greatest, possibly one of 2 greatest international basketball players in U.S. history, and one of the 5 greatest scorers. And even 2 years ago, his last year in the Knicks, he was seen as one of the 3 greatest offensive NBA scorers still playing. He's looked at him as a bum because he himself has selfishly chosen every time to choose himself as opposed to the team.
He made the decision
with Kemba saying, "I'll take less," that immediately changes the entire look, whether they win or not. But the other thing is, Carmelo was never going to be seen as the greatest Knicks ever, whereas Kemba can be seen as the greatest Hornet ever, and that's.
I don't think that means
shit.
There's only 30 people who could ever be the greatest person for the thing. LeBron's never going to be the greatest Laker.
No.
Kobe is not the greatest Laker.
Kobe's not even the top 5 greatest Lakers in my mind.
Well, he could be in the top 5 greatest Lakers, but he's not in the top 5 greatest players to wear a Lakers uniform.
Yeah, because he's only going to play there 4 years.
Yeah.
But do we see James Harden going the Carmelo Anthony route?
At some point, no. I think he camps out in Houston.
I think they just
no. I know. I just mean with his legacy and how
never
he's
winning a championship.
Yeah.
No. I think. Well, first off, Harden has an MVP. Melo never sniffed an MVP. Harden
got 1 vote the year LeBron should have been unanimous.
Which is ridiculous.
Robbery.
Once again, this is okay. Kind of circling back my Curry thing. The fact that he's the first unanimous MVP just crushes me over guys like Jordan, Magic, Bird, and LeBron.
But
ridiculous.
But Magic and Bird played with each other. They were never going to be a unanimous MVP.
That's very true. At the same time, over Jordan, who really, I'm sorry.
And Jordan honestly should have Charles Barkley's MVP.
Charles Barkley and Malone's MVP.
And at least one of Malone.
And
LeBron should have Derrick Rose's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he should have one of Curry's.
And Steph Curry's first one.
He should have one of Curry's. I'm just saying, like, the year I do believe he got that unanimous was the year that LeBron probably should have won that MVP.
Absolutely not. That's the year. No, the year before.
No.
The year before.
The unanimous was the 73 win team.
And the 400 threes.
Yeah. No, that's.
But he averaged 30 on a 73-win team. It was him.
He also shot 40, 50, and 90.
I mean,
it was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. I just don't care.
This is why, as much as Ken Griffey Jr. should have been the first unanimous MVP in baseball. Baseball sucks the way they do this.
He also should have been
of all time.
No, he also should have been the first.
Thank
unanimous
God
Hall of Famer.
it wasn't Derek Jeter.
You mean he should have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer?
Hall of Famer. Thank God it wasn't Derek Jeter. I mean, it's still a Yankee, but at least it wasn't Jeter.
Who was it?
Mario Rivera. But he kind of deserved that.
Oh no, I mean that's the thing. It's
Rivera.
It's a Yankee, but like that's the Yankee I can live with.
Like what Rivera did was just insane. But once again, let's just say, circling back, bold prediction time for me. And I'm going to say this right now.
Okay, no. Okay, so you're getting ready to do this. This will go around. You say, what playoff team do you think won't make the playoffs, and what 2 teams do you think will make the finals? And then, John, you want to go first?
So I'm going to go ahead and say right now, if Clay and Durant does not play next year, I think the Warriors crater. Curry cannot carry that team to an 8 seed, and they miss the playoffs. And like I said, once again, I said it once, I'll say it again. He becomes if Kemba stays, he becomes the Kemba of the West without Durant and Clay. So, with that said, finals, I'm going to say Sixers Lakers.
Ooh, the NBA would love that. The NBA would love that.
Absolutely. Those markets. Those teams, those superstars?
No, separate from that, Embiid's social media.
Oh, yeah.
And LeBron.
And LeBron.
And LeBron. Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, that's my prediction, barring some crazy shit that could happen between now.
That's a bad matchup for the Lakers.
Well, we got to see what else they get. I mean,
well,
way
like I
too
said,
much time.
Barring free agency,
but I
between
mean,
now and the 30th, there's a lot of things that can happen.
No, there is. But
so.
if the Sixers keep their starting lineup, and even if the Lakers sign Kemba, that's still a bad matchup for the Lakers. Just because, I mean, that begins Anthony Davis isn't an advantage anymore. And it's almost might even be tilted Embiid's way rather than just even.
You would think that, but postseason Embiid has not been great the past 2 years.
Well, but we don't know what an Anthony Davis postseason.
Well, no,
he swept the Blazers.
He swept
did,
the Blazers by himself.
And that was
no Cousins.
That was when they were playing much more, not playing a style of basketball that will be played with LeBron James.
And we also don't know what exactly Boogie's going to be doing this offseason.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
We have no idea what Boogie's doing. Like no one gives him a max deal.
No, absolutely not.
And he's not staying with the Warriors either.
Probably not.
Did you not see that meme I sent to the?
No.
It's a picture of him slowly transporting into Karl
Morphing.
Malone, morphing into Karl Malone, trying to chase that ring and not getting it. By the way, I'm 100% with you. I'm happy he didn't get that ring.
Very much. I never like to see anybody get hurt, but if it had to be anybody, Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins were at the top of the list.
I think that if Toronto
talk about the hold on, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Talk about the narrative shifting in media on a player, though. Did you see all the sympathy Durant got?
Not from me.
No, not for me at all.
Drop.
Not a drop, but him getting hurt and him kind of like,
Do you think any one of those motherfuckers is going to give him credit for those 2 titles?
Nope.
No.
One.
They just feel bad that he got hurt.
They feel bad that he got hurt.
They feel like the organization pushed him out there.
Well, yeah.
Because you know what? He was leaving anyway. Let's milk him for what we can. And they pop his Achilles.
Well, the GM coming out there and crying.
Good acting job.
I don't think he wants to go out there if he doesn't. At the end of the day, everyone's saying he's a competitor. He wanted to be out there. I mean, think about it. I mean, Josh,
Clay
what would you do
wanted
in
to
that
stay.
situation?
What?
You're in the finals.
Clay wanted
What
to
would
stay.
I do in
sit
that
on the
situation?
bench.
I would sit on the bench and collect my $200-something million
saying that you're
contract.
choosing a
But
competitor.
if you're
I disagree.
Clay and well, I mean, both of them are free agents.
Well, Clay,
Yeah, they're both free.
well, Clay was never going to leave, so it's different.
No, yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Durant and Clay. I think Durant.
I pay Clay.
I don't know.
They're paying both of them.
I don't think,
Whether Durant accepts
shooters
it.
last longer.
Shooters do last longer.
That's
but I mean,
And it's an ACL, not an Achilles. Big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah,
well,
big
Durant has the Achilles, so I don't know. How shitty would it be to see like the Warriors not offer him a deal?
They're
They're
offering.
going to. They have to.
They would be crucified.
This is where
It's a player option.
Well, it's not even that.
If this were the NFL, he would not get a contract.
Well, that's what but the NFL is different in this particular instance, and this is where you and I have mostly. No, it has nothing to do with that. This is where you and I have had our biggest disagreements in the concern of the choices by the front office on the non-basketball reasons. Basketball reasons, I could understand them not offering them. They're moving into San Francisco in a new arena, and they are already hundreds of millions of dollars on the luxury tax the last couple of years. They have to sell out that building and sell out those suites, and the only way they can do that is re-signing Clay and Durant.
I agree.
And even if the fans know that it's a lost season this year, that they have those guys for the 2 and 3 years, they'll buy the suites and they'll buy the tickets and do all of those things.
Right. And I do want to. I do have to head out of here, but you mentioned the NFL, so I do want to leave y'all with a degenerate special since there's not much to bet on these next couple of days. There's baseball, but I don't feel I'm good enough at baseball to start giving out tips on that.
Baseball's kind of special.
Everybody feels that they don't feel good enough.
Well,
No.
baseball's
The
like
guys
analytics.
that bet baseball, those are for the gamblers that actually know what they're actually talking about.
Yeah.
If I could sit down for 5 hours a day and look at baseball stats, we could put up 50%. But
They're math
it's-
doctorates is what those guys
100%.
are.
Yeah, and they're also checking out the weather, the humidity, the wind.
One guy has a weather guy.
They're literally
Billy
looking
Walters
at
had a weather guy, an
everything.
injury guy.
It's too much.
It's crazy.
Baseball gambling is just a different beast in of itself.
No, the ones who are good though, that's where they can make their living.
Yeah, they all went to MIT.
Oh yeah.
Or Harvard.
R.J. Bell, he could have went to Harvard. He either turned down a law degree at Harvard or was offered a law degree at Harvard. He said something on his podcast. But no, building off of what we started the show off when Jerry was talking about, the public overreacting with teams, Lakers as such, Tiger as such, to where their number isn't really accurate. Exactly. And that leads me to actually, I'm going to go NFL conference winner pick of the year. And I actually think that the Steelers win that division at plus 195.
You're fucking high.
Well, no, that's the play,
The division.
because nobody,
Just the division.
Well,
nobody's going to bet
thinks that.
just got better than Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincy. That number, that's value. There's no reason.
I think Lamar Jackson progresses.
I agree 100%.
Well, they're already saying
says even if he's just the same, they're not better.
OTAs, he's regressed. Actually, he's not hitting any throws at all.
And he's not going to surprise anybody.
Hit throws.
He's not going to surprise anybody.
And I think that the Steelers have a chip on their shoulder. So degenerate special. Conference or division winner of the year.
It's a high chance because Cleveland could also implode.
Pittsburgh Steelers plus 195. Lock it in.
I have no faith in Ben without really anyone for that matter.
But the thing is, though, you say that
James Conner can play.
Well, you say that, but it's like through his career.
Cover 704 Twitter.
You out here, man? All right.
I got to get out, guys. Have a good one.
Still hasn't made an Instagram.
Still hasn't made an Instagram, and be prepared to have your beard shaved next week.
And receive your T-shirt.
And have Josh's anus on your shirt.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, absolutely.
You got to take a picture.
You know what?
I'm not
It's
taking a photo.
honestly,
You
y'all
take
make
a
sure.
photo yourself.
I'm not taking a picture of my butthole. You should make him do it.
It's worse for that was not part of the bet. That's not part of the bet. If y'all want to put that on a shirt,
it was not part of the bet.
Y'all really lost the bet. So if you guys want to make that happen,
do we have
I'll
any
do my part.
volunteers out here who would take a picture of my butthole so Josh can wear it around?
You're gonna have to pay.
Yeah, you have to wear it at World.
Don't you have to go?
Table.
The T-shirt, a whole new world. A whole HOLE.
Odds of someone willingly taking a picture of Josh's butt is minus 800 for the no.
Find someone on Hinge.
Take care, y'all.
My Hinge date yesterday.
Oh, you went on a Hinge date last night?
There's no way she's down to look at my butthole.
There's no way she's not looking at it?
No, there's no way she's going to look at it.
From you by mid-afternoon, John.
Didn't go well, huh?
She's so boring.
To finish up,
Mid-afternoon, what your decision is.
Bet.
we will to finish on the Cleveland Pittsburgh thing. Is Pittsburgh though has had a tremendous ability to draft Pro Bowl level wide receivers. I mean, through Therapist's career, I almost actually said his name. He's had like 10, 11 guys that have had over like 1,200 yards receiving or 10 touchdown seasons.
I get that, but that arm is
he is the future of Cam Newton, of a big guy getting beaten over and over again that extends plays because he has a big arm.
Yeah.
And has never given him an offensive line to protect him as much as it should have been.
Speaking of which, Jesus Christ. Speaking of which, they're actually.
But to finish,
hold on. Go ahead.
Let's finish our NBA thing, and then we can come full on into the.
Well, no, I definitely want to go back into the NBA because I was not done with that at all.
We'll come back to it for sure.
Because no. I'm just saying, like,
no, I mean we will. It's just funny because we go on tangents.
We tend to, and we kind of lose our.
Well, we
place.
have to focus on the gambling more. Now we can just talk about it generally.
Yeah, we got guys. By the way, the gambling portion of this podcast is now over.
Oh, we'll still be making picks.
Oh, absolutely. But now at this point, we're going to be discussing
another one.
Another one. Holy shit! These people are dropping like flies in the Dominican Republic.
What a way to go!
It's over 10 though, right? Isn't it?
Another one just now, an hour ago.
What? So it's at least 11.
Yeah. Anyways, no. We're going to go ahead and just start speculating on what's going to happen this offseason in the NBA. You guys think everyone's size stays?
I've said, except for Kyrie, that the big names, and that includes down to Tobias Harris, stay with the team that have them, because most of the teams that have those guys are looking around and like, I think we're good with what's – and even Davis going to the Lakers, it becomes the situation you know versus the situation you don't. And for the mid-level ones – I mean, Jimmy Butler has to know his game and LeBron's game overlaps too much that they can't really exist.
Well, I don't see Jimmy Butler going to the Lakers.
No, but I'm just saying it's like, and he also has to kind of look over to where the Celtics imploded, and you're like, yeah, I like Kyrie, I like him.
Well, no, but the thing is, the Lakers now are trying to clear
and the Sixers
out.
only played 23 games together with those 5 starters,
roughly, yeah.
And they still may have been the second best team in the playoffs this past season.
The Lakers are trying to clear, I think, 3 players to try and get the $32 million in cap space. To be able to offer a max deal.
Wagner, and who's the other guy on the roster?
Some other person who never played.
Who makes like $1 million, and he's just on the roster to be there.
The most amazing thing is like everybody knows that the Lakers are trying to do this, and people will still take those trades
absolutely.
to help them.
Well, no, I mean you got to think about it. You let the Lakers have the 3-year window while you're rebuilding, and if it benefits you, it benefits you.
Have they announced the years of the other picks for New Orleans?
One's like 2026, I think.
No. It's this year's. which is the
19.
4.
They got the 4, and then they got 2020 and 2022 or 2021.
They can't
No,
have
that's
2020.
It's 2021, 2022.
No, they can't have 2021 and 2022. It can't be consecutive years.
He's saying entire seasons. You just
Yeah,
say
yeah,
the
yeah,
year.
yeah.
You mean 19, 21,
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
Now, if I was New Orleans, and again, this would have been the previous New Orleans, not Griffin, who has kind of a good relationship with LeBron.
I took the 3 all after he was gone.
I would have gone 19. I would have gone 22 and 25, because the other thing that prevents the Lakers from trading any draft pick until 2027, because you can't trade consecutive first-round picks. And this goes back to an off-podcast discussion involving Magic Johnson and James Worthy, because Cleveland traded back-to-back first-round picks, and they just imploded their own team, and the NBA had to step in and say, you can't trade consecutive first-round picks. So then that would keep the Lakers from trading another first round pick until like 8 years away, which again, for the team getting it, they're probably going to be not good, but it's still the wait for that is probably too long for many teams to want to sit with.
Well, I mean, they have a 3-year window now with LeBron. They have Davis. They're going to have him for 3 years as well, at least.
No, they'll have him this year and then the 4 or 5 years after. 4 years after, because I don't think. Well, 5 years, but I'm not sure, since there was a trade right before this, that they can give him the supermax until the next contract season. So he'll probably do a 2+1, and then
So I mean, they're going to keep. I think Davis ends up retiring a Laker.
Oh no, he's going to stay a Laker.
He's going to stay a Laker.
That's the thing is
whoever else they bring in as far as the other superstar, unless it's Kemba, they can honestly run with Davis and that other superstar, and possibly trade or bring in someone else. In 3 years.
Well, that's the thing.
LeBron comes off that contract. LeBron's gone. He's going to be, close to 40 at that point? He'll be 38, 39?
38, yeah, that's what I
He'll be 38. He's going to want to play with his kid. His kid's a freshman, 4 years out. He says he wants to play with Bronny for 1 season at least.
G League.
Well, again, this is
Bronny.
Again, this is why if I'm whatever team's drafting number 1 when Bronny comes out, I'm drafting him.
And the year Bronny's coming out, I do believe it's the first
year. To get a 39-year-old LeBron?
To retire in my jersey and sell those seats,
and not on top of that,
for the first time in NBA history for a father and son to play together.
The year Bronny comes out is going to be, I do believe, the first year you can draft.
That's scheduled. It's scheduled.
Well,
that's when the contract
be able to draft 18-year-olds.
Well, that's when the collective bargaining agreement is up, and that's most likely when the the one and done thing will be eliminated, and then high school players will be eligible immediately. But the other thing is. The biggest benefit for the Lakers is that Anthony Davis is a player whose skills are much more adaptable to anybody else coming in, because he's a center. No matter where you are, you can fit with him.
Yes.
Whereas LeBron's thing, I think that's why Kawhi doesn't want to play with LeBron, because they know they kind of overlap, and he's smart enough to understand that. And 2,
I don't think it fits as well as like a good point guard.
No, and he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk. If he goes to the Lakers, he knows he'll be asked questions all the time, particularly if he's LeBron's teammate, which is one of the reasons that even Durant intimated, it's like, but I think he said, "Fuck him, I don't want to play with him," more or less, is because he knows is that what they do is the same type of thing. Admittedly, in the late game, LeBron would choose to pass it late, but even then, Durant's better when he has the ball, setting up his own shot rather than just catching it and shooting. He can do that.
He can do everything.
But he's much more dangerous when he has the ball in his wings with his dribble to go, and you're like, oh God, I'm hosed. This guy's 7 feet, and he can go by me or shoot over me or do anything else. But that's what I think. Butler knows that, and he'll stay, and Tobias will stay, and then JJ will stay, and they'll figure it out, and the Sixers will do that.
Are the Sixers your favorite right now?
If
Kawhi leaves?
If Kawhi leaves, absolutely. If Kawhi stays, I still think Toronto is they'll be even better because they know what to do in the playoffs.
And you get Anunoby back. That's another player.
Another defensive wing.
Way better than Norman Powell.
Way better than Norman Powell. Better finisher, better defensive wing, and he started developing a shot.
Well, you got to think he's also going to be. This is going to be his 3rd year in the league.
Yeah,
he's going to be a year better.
Yeah, and he will see, and he can be the guy. I mean, Kawhi understands the playing the level and the one to get back. And he can be the guy that's like the other people can say, yeah, well, let's kind of help win him one as Kawhi helps. I don't think they'll have the same hangover as a lot of teams would in that situation. I want to hedge the bet and say the Sixers and Toronto. But if Kawhi is back in Toronto and Powell, I think is going to definitely stay. Because European guys don't care.
You mean Mark?
Yes, Mark. I don't think European guys care as much where they play in the NBA as American guys.
Absolutely not.
And
He probably loves Toronto.
Oh, he probably
He's been in
adores
Memphis.
Toronto.
He's
yes.
been in fucking Memphis.
Well, he went to high school in Memphis, so he's like, this is where this is. And Memphis probably isn't terribly different from Spain. It's like hot and it's got a lot of music and you can drink. So it's like, oh, I like this. But he would definitely, I think he definitely opts out and may even take a little less to stay, or probably he opts in and just takes all the money and stays. And that Toronto is probably, I think they may even finish third in the East next year, but I think they're still the favorites in that.
Yeah, seeding.
Seeding doesn't, and they know that now.
Kawhi's going to miss another 20 games.
Which, by design.
Yeah.
And
Why? It showed it works.
It worked, especially with...
and when you go 15-5 without him, or 20, or
something like that.
Yeah.
I think 17 and 5 may have been close to 22 games.
22 games he missed, so he has like 17-5 or 16-6, something stupid, yeah.
And then they know, and he was hobbled throughout most of the playoffs, but because he wasn't as tired, he was still able to carry. You even forgot about it until game 6 or 5.
Everyone was like, Clay's banged up. Kawhi's been banged up since Milwaukee. Yeah, like what are you guys talking about?
And so I think that the Sixers in the East and the West, the NBA will want the Lakers there. But I think the thing that we will get, which would be the best reason to pay attention, I think we will get Golden State and the Lakers in the first round. And if Klay Thompson's back, all he needs to do is shoot, and that's all. That's not going to go away. He's going to be standing in a boot for most of the next 6 months, just shooting.
If you're Draymond, are you guarding LeBron or Davis?
You're guarding LeBron, and you're just letting Looney and everybody else just do whatever they. You want to slow down the offense, and because I mean they knew because they played, wasn't it? It was New Orleans and Golden State in the second round when they won that one time, so they know what to do with that. But I think the NBA, if Klay Thompson comes back in late March or mid March, which he can, and he doesn't need to run as much. His defense obviously will be not the same, but his shooting will be back. I think that the NBA will make Golden State the 8th seed against the Lakers in the Western Conference playoffs, and that's the last thing the Lakers want to see. Are you calling
the Lakers a 1 seed right now?
Yeah, I think they'll be the one. I don't think they're the favorites to win it, but I think they're the one.
You don't think maybe LeBron gets some load management this year?
I don't think that matters too much. Actually, you know who we're skipping about this? I think Portland might jump up to the one.
With Nurkic back?
Well, no.
And now Kanter's just off the bench scorer.
And everybody knows.
No.
Everybody on the team knows.
Portland benefits tremendously for what just happened to the Warriors. So I'm just saying, yeah, they jump into the top 4.
Every good team
They were in the top 4.
Excuse me, top 3.
Every good team just benefited. The only team that got fucked was the Knicks, and maybe the Nets.
Maybe
the Clippers.
Utah's got to be desperate to get that Conley trade now because they know that's
they have a window.
They need. Well, they don't. Windows are so stupid.
What?
Windows are dumb because I mean it's like
your best player is 21.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they're talking about a window.
Your window's in 5 years.
You're talking about a window for the 76ers. It's like if they keep signing Simmons and Embiid, their window is 12 years. I mean, the rest of the guys are just the rest of the guys.
The reason why that's happening actually now is because of the extension of the salary cap. Because we saw teams, for example, prior to that happening, just think how pissed off.
No, you could always sign
Sam
Presti
is once again with what happened with the salary cap when he had Harden, Westbrook, and also had Durant on the same team.
But he chose Ibaka.
But that was the difference, though, is that they didn't have the go-ahead from the guys up top to pay the money.
Oh, no, they didn't have it. They didn't want to go to the luxury. But
now they are, and they're okay with it.
With the extended, with the extended salary cap, though, they could have afforded to pay all 3 of them at one point.
No, they will. I mean, it would still be going into the salary cap, and they need the approval from the ownership, which now they have because I think the team was sold in between because the guy who owns it now is a billionaire. So it's like,
was D'Antoni the coach when Harden got there, or did he come later?
He was later. He was later. He was. This is only his 3rd year.
This going into the next season will be his 3rd year. So he completely.
He won the MVP. Well, he led the NBA in assists his first year there. He said Harden said, "I want you to be the point guard." He's like, "What?" And then it was like, "Oh wait, the ball's in my hand all the time." Yet he still led the NBA in assists. And then last year he still averaged over 10. Over the last 2 years,
going next year will be his 4th.
He didn't average 10 this year.
No, I think this is his 3rd year. He's only
this last season was his 3rd year.
Yeah.
1 year was 11, 1 year was 10. Now it was like 8.
8, and that was probably because of the guys that were missing off of the team.
Yeah, they didn't have the 30-point shooters that they had the past several years,
or the other finishers because Capella missed like a third of the season or something, like 20,
Yeah.
15,
also
20 games.
there's a serious way more shot attempts.
Yeah.
It was going up.
Well, I mean, yeah, that period of time he was averaging over 30 for like
35 a game.
the second
No,
longest
he
streak.
averaged 35 for the 36 for the season. So he was averaging like 40.
Yeah.
But I mean, where he never failed to score less than 30 points.
29 games, 27 games.
Which, and they said, "Oh, it broke, and you missed it by 1 point." He's like, "I'm never catching the first guy, so what does it matter?" And it's right. I mean,
Oh, yeah. The first
What's
guy
it?
is Wilt.
wilted like 67 games or something.
It's unreal.
Almost an
Well,
entire season.
okay, first off, can we have a...
So to finish this, I think if Kawhi said, I think Toronto is representing the East. I didn't say who I was representing the West. I think I will go with Portland, though. I will say with Portland. Obviously, the NBA.
you think the finals is Toronto, Portland?
Because I don't think the Lakers are going to figure it out just this quick. LeBron can. I think the people that he put with him, for the most part, are going to be new to it and aren't going to be ready. And the load management will occur. And I do agree that his regular season is going to be much better because part of the reason Golden State fell apart is this is their fifth year with deep into the playoffs. It's basically 100 extra games. So you've had an entire extra season of more intense basketball in the period of time. So that's kind of what that. So it benefits LeBron, but this is brand new pressure and attention and scrutiny for most of the rest of the people that are going to be on that team, which is why I think Rondo staying is important because he doesn't have to do anything in the regular season. He just has to kind of be there to play when somebody gets hurt. And then when the playoffs come, he kind of takes over because his mental state is he doesn't care what anybody says, which benefits him in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I think Portland, if Nurkic is healthy and the rest of the people, and it's like people who they have all of the separate pieces that fit together. Now they kind of know they can get there, and they're like, oh, Golden State is like Houston saw Golden State, and they kept trying to beat it by being more Golden State. Portland was trying to beat it by just doing a different thing. It's like now if they're gone, we can match up regular basketball wise with anybody else in this conference.
Do you think the Warriors dynasty's over?
No, not if they sign both of them.
How about you?
I think they'll get one more in the next 3 years.
I don't think so.
They'll definitely get in the finals.
I don't think they win
in the
another
next 3
title.
years. They can definitely get in the finals in the next 3
I think
years.
Durant's gone.
I don't think they win another. I don't think they make another finals, and I think that dynasty's over. I genuinely do. Age, injuries, and
Well, here's the thing: if
none of those guys are LeBron.
if Durant does leave, the big question is going to be next off season, or depending on where they are in the middle of the season, if they go ahead and get rid of Green.
Draymond, yep.
Because if
Some people are talking about trading him now while he has a little bit of value, but I don't think he has any value.
I think he does.
Well, he does have
I
value
think
for a
what he did
playoff
when,
team.
Well, I think what he did in the playoffs, he the dude was putting up
but the
triple
problem is
doubles
you're not
like
going to
they
get
were nothing.
But they're not going to get anything back with
They were
him.
almost quadruple doubles with the turnovers. They were bad.
They were almost quad doubles. Yeah.
well, actually, that team
He had 8 turnovers that last game.
that team in general was coughing up the ball a lot.
Well,
in
that's
the finals.
Well, I mean, that's their Achilles heel. If you can turn them over, that's how you beat them. But
I mean, ugly turnovers too. You're like, what the fuck are they
But if
doing?
Durant leaves and they give the max deal to Clay, they have the max deal, the super max with Curry, and then Durant's coming up. That's how you can reset and still be competitive for another 6 years, though.
I don't think so.
Because Curry and Thompson's skill set lends itself for them to be good until the 13th and 14th year of their careers.
I don't think
Shooting doesn't go away.
I know it doesn't. I just don't think, barring I think with injuries and those Clay having now a torn ACL and Curry just being the frame he has and the miles that he has and that frame really doesn't. But yeah, shooting. He's just not going to be able to do the little things that he tends to do on the court.
How many years did Reggie Miller play? 19?
Yeah, how big was Reggie Miller?
6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, how heavy was he in compared to his height, though?
190.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not terribly different.
Kevin Durant doesn't have much of a frame either.
No.
But that might be good for his Achilles.
Well, that'll help. That's what's benefited his
Durant's
feet.
also 6'11" with a
6'11", he's 7'1", 7. He's almost.
He's so much taller than DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh my God! During the NBA, the Olympic playoff
I saw
pictures,
the picture. I saw it.
Cousins he's like, "Go away," because he's listed as 7 feet, and it's like 3.5, almost 4 inches difference. He kept like shoving it. Go stand over there. I'm supposed to be 7 feet, and you say you're 6'11" over there.
Liars. No, I just think that window's closed. Honestly, without Durant, and I don't know what's going to happen with Clay, how that much that ACL is going to affect him. I mean, every player is kind of different every time they have that injury. Some people were able to come back from it and like it never happened. Some people can have 3 torn ACLs. and be fine. Some people have it once and they're never the same person.
Well, see, the thing that's interesting is, I mean, Dominique had that and came back to be relatively effective with the Clippers.
He averaged Dominique tore his Achilles?
Yeah, he had,
come back and averaged 30?
It was like 23, 24 for the Clippers when everybody knew he was the only offensive player they had. And Bernard King came back after a knee injury 2 years later and averaged like about 25, 26. He was a top 4 scorer in the NBA. So, and that was 20 years ago. So coming back from the ACL
surgery,
is like Tommy John surgery now. It's like, go if you have it, go ahead. So, and you could be the same type of player.
Achilles, not so much.
No, but it is getting better and quicker because it used to be no matter what, it was 2 years and you're never going to be the same player. Now it's like a year and you're probably not going to be the same player.
You're not going to be the same player.
But the thing is, we don't know about DeMarcus Cousins because his history of working hard doesn't exist. So we don't know what type of, like, we don't know how successful that surgery really was. If that was in a different player, if that was like a Klay Thompson who had that, and he had that 18 months, would he have been working harder and come back and been in shape and ready and running? And it's like, oh, he's close to the same type of guy.
Dominique Wilkins averaged 29.9 points.
Oh my God!
After he tore his Achilles,
that's amazing.
And then the next year, still 26, then 24, and he started.
And that's
what. But he was 32 when he got hurt.
Yeah, he was 32 when he got hurt.
Yeah, so the decline was just naturally. Dominique averaged 29.9 points after he got hurt.
That is crazy.
And then Durant right now is 30.
And he got hurt during the season. Right when he got named an All-Star. Next season,
yes.
29.9. That's unbelievable. How many months is that? 8, 9?
Well, I think he was out for 11. And again, that was 20-something years ago.
True, but Neek was kind of a freak athlete in general.
He was.
Like a freak of nature.
But again, that's exactly what we're describing with Durant. The difference is,
I think Neek's got more of a brawn build.
Yeah, no, Neek's more of a brawn build. I mean,
sturdier.
He's sturdier, got more muscle around it. Just like
especially dunking.
Yeah.
To the
so
hoop.
I mean, like,
well, again, freak of nature isn't a specific type of freak.
Well,
yeah.
But he's a guy. He's got a weird frame and size. When I mean freak of nature, I mean more like the lines of freak of nature, like LeBron or Zion.
Well, I mean
like
Durant
also has an injury history we're ignoring.
Yes,
yeah.
But
missed the season.
The thing that's interesting with Durant, though, is being 7 feet tall and 8-10 years in the league, he hasn't gained the type of weight 7-footers normally gain over that period of time. And he's relatively most of those guys don't.
He's what's the word? Wiry.
Yeah.
Wiry.
Which is hard for a 7-footer to be.
It doesn't. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not impossible, and he will definitely have something to prove, especially if he signs somewhere else.
Well, I don't know if he's going to actually end up signing anywhere else now. I mean,
no. If people are still offering a max deal, if you were going to leave, go ahead and take that money wherever else you're going. Nobody's going to really. If you go somewhere else and you sign the max deal with the Nets or the Clippers or the Knicks,
well, by the time
you can just entirely sit out. And
I think there's no way the Clippers offer has to be off the table.
The Clipper. I agree.
It's got to be Knicks or nothing.
Yeah, or Golden State if they happen to do that. But I agree that because Jerry West is with the Clippers, that deal doesn't.
He will not
exist
let
anymore.
that happen. No, by the time he comes back, though, it'll be year 14 for him. So I mean,
he'll be 33.
He'll be 31. But he came in the league in 2007.
He's 30 now.
He's 30 now. He'll be 32. But he's been in the league since 2007.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll technically be his 14th.
But again, as
by the time he comes back,
as Josh said, though, so that's 82 less games because he didn't play this past season. He's probably missed about 140 games previously in his career. So I mean, that's it's a history of injury and also less wear and tear to an extent. I mean, admittedly, the last 3 seasons
he turns 31 in September. He turns 31 in a couple months.
Yeah. So I mean. By the time he
comes, 32.
He'll be 32.
Well, he'll be 31 at the he'll be 32 at the beginning of that season.
Yeah, because it starts in October.
Yeah. So I mean, this is what I said though.
Do you offer him a max deal?
If I'm the Knicks, I have to.
And take a year off and be like, hey, redshirt year.
The Knicks have struck out on everything else. You have to.
You have to.
Well, it's just a flyer.
But this is what the same thing I said about Klay Thompson when I said that I actually thought he was hurt as opposed to no, he just kind of tweaked that he was fine.
Well, I think they were lying about that injury the entire time.
But when
it was never a calf.
When all NBA players come back, they're going to play at a high level unless they're actually really broken. So, I mean, if the surgery is successful and he works hard and prepares, he's going to be close to the same guy. I mean, he's not going to be the same guy, but he's still 7 foot tall shooting over the top of people. Yeah, as he said about Beverly, it's like, I could just turn and shoot over the top of him no matter what. Most of the people defending him, he can turn and shoot over the top of.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
His game may change, but I think his scoring output.
I mean, maybe he
same.
turns into more of a 4. So what? He's still an amazing 4.
And then he's still going to be able to shoot better than any other 4 that tries to defend him or anything else.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I'm sticking by my my prediction. I don't think the Warriors make the playoffs this year at all. I just don't. I don't have the faith in Curry to carry
Who are
that
your
team.
8 teams in the West? Then?
Who are my 8 teams in the West?
Yeah.
I'm lobbying into Pelicans or the Kings at that point, and I'm dropping literally. I'm having the Warriors plummet.
So you have well, okay. So everybody the same.
The Spurs might trade DeRozan, so you think they fall out?
Well, it depends on what they trade him for and what they get, but you can never count out Pop. I just won't.
Aldridge a year older. He's been leasing.
Aldridge is the one that they want to trade. I think even more so than DeRozan.
Yeah, but given what's going to happen,
and oddly, his contract's not that bad.
No.
Who, DeRozan's or Aldridge?
Aldridge, because he's
all things considered. No,
he's rolling off. I think he's with the last year of that coming up, and it's only in the 20-something, 24,
and
25.
He's still producing.
And he can. Yeah, I mean, he can defend somewhat, and he can definitely score.
Despite the fact that Aldridge is there, who would be a perfect Spur? Horford would be a perfect Spur.
That's where I think that they want to get rid of Aldridge. Horford would be fantastic there.
They're about the same age.
Same draft class, right?
Probably.
Yeah, they're about the same age. But I think
Horford would be a year older.
Just kind of given what Horford,
sophomore.
Given what Horford
junior,
does,
because they didn't do it as a freshman. They did sophomore, junior.
He won. They played in 2 national championships.
Yeah,
Florida. He was at Florida. Yeah,
with Noah Brewer, Torian Green, and Lee Humphrey.
Who would have thought that,
that
Horford
guy
would be the one that lasts the longest out of that group?
Lee Humphrey, the dead-eye 3-point shooter that shot 50% from the foul line. And Chris
close.
And Chris Richards.
It's too close.
But no, I think it's just given his mindset, the way he plays and everything. Horford just screams Spur. But that would be someone they would love to get. But I'm not even sure.
Him and Aldridge can both shoot. I guess they could definitely
play together.
No, they can play together.
Horford's been playing as an undersized center as it is, and on offense he could play up top and then still have Aldridge down on the block, and that would allow him even the opportunity to cut because Aldridge is a better than average post passer.
Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to look at the Spurs.
I mean,
they would be playing some slow basketball.
They have been.
They have been, though. That's kind of what they've been doing.
That's the weird thing.
They flipped their game immediately after. Yeah,
twice they did it because
Pop will always shift and make whatever. He's very much
when they lost to the Heat
of the NBA.
When they lost to the Heat, the next year they led the NBA in 3-pointers and efficiency and everything else, and then like 2 years after that they were completely reversed from that again.
Well, yeah, they were kind of doing what the Warriors doing before the Warriors did it.
And only to counteract what the Heat was doing because they had to move the ball quicker around the perimeter because they had 4 of the best wing defenders in the NBA.
It was so painful but beautiful to watch at the same time, that last finals.
It was some of the best basketball on both sides that you just ever seen. That was like, oh, that's like the Lakers and the Celtics. It's 2 really good teams playing basketball.
And that first finals that the Heat won, that was one of the best series ever. Oh.
If Parker was on the floor leading the break instead of Ginobili, then they would have scored on that and then gone up by the 4. Instead, Ginobili gets the turnover and then they go back and they score and the game's in.
If Duncan was in, they would have got that rebound.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was the 2 things on that.
That LeBron block on Tiago Splitter is still one of my favorite blocks of all time. Center coming down the lane. LeBron, no running start, just 1-step flat foot jump.
Nope.
Bow!
to Sean Prince, the former holder of the greatest block in NBA playoff history.
Before the Iguodala one?
Yeah.
the one on Iguodala.
The most amazing thing is that it's like you watch it and you see it happening and you see the ball is about 10 feet in front of LeBron and you're like, okay, Golden State's going to score. But then once they make the pass, but even then the ball's going further away from him and it should be harder to get to. But then you think there might be a chance for it to at least be contested. It's like, oh God, he blocked it.
There's a thing where they showed where LeBron was behind half court and then they showed him taking off for his jump and the amount of time that went off the clock.
He was
like 1.2 seconds.
He was effectively at the wing and actually closer toward the block part on the opposite side of the court when Golden State throws the ball ahead. And at one point, I think he's as much as 20 feet behind the ball as he closes in. It's like, okay, I can only get to this one spot, and if they come there, I'll be there.
Coaches always told me forever, they say nobody can outrun the ball. Then I saw that play.
He did. He outrun 3 passes.
And LeBron,
like, wow.
And LeBron haters, all they say is they forget any of that happened. They just say, Kyrie won that game. You're like, oh, okay, sure, whatever.
That block, that they score that block and that 3-pointer and everything changes from that. The reason, I mean, Kyrie would have shot that anyway because he doesn't really care about time and circumstance and everything else. But what made that shot
kills me about him.
Is easy to be shot and attempted. is because it was an even game, and the only reason it was an even game is because of that block.
You know what? Hold on, time out. You say he's
Time
got
out.
some
You mean we're
Harden
still
in
talking,
him.
though.
Yeah, I know. You say that he's got some Harden in him. I think Harden adapted his game to be more like Curry. I think Harden's got some Curry in him. That's what that's what I think.
No,
Harden may average more assists, but Steph Curry is a trillion times the less selfish player than James Harden.
yeah.
I don't know.
No, Harden.
I think the way Curry plays is selfish.
Rondo and Chris Paul average selfish assists. Other NBA players have even been on the record as saying they hold the ball so much that they're going to get the assist.
No, you're right.
Well,
no, what I'm saying is that like with Curry though, the dude will always take that three, even though he's got a player streaking to the basket. They make that assist to get the guarantee too.
But it's never guaranteed to.
Well, it's more guaranteed if you have open lane, you're going to dunk it. I mean,
Except for the fact that
when
it's
it's
Curry
not.
shooting that ball from more than 30 feet. And that's like one of the only things that's outside the analytics, and it's because of him and him alone. Anybody else shooting that, it's not this, except for Lillard in the playoffs this one series, this one playoff run. But
I love that shot. God, I could watch that shot forever.
The one against OKC?
Yes.
But the is it the shot or just the reactions and everything
all
after it?
the above.
It was a bad shot, Paul George. Shut up.
Everything
it was,
about that
except
shot.
that it goes in. Much like at Leonard's shot, which Leonard's shot is amazing leading up to that because Philadelphia. They did the swap that they want, but then Embiid closed in better than any center should ever be able to do.
And he may have traveled too.
And well, nobody cares about that.
Am I right?
Curry gets away with
It led to the Warriors losing. We needed it.
I know. I am aware. But then again, Curry may have traveled in that game. That series could have easily gone 4.
But going back to Harden, though, I think that's what Sam Presti, as much as people are, and you earlier were talking about Presti, it's like, why didn't he keep him in the salary cap and thing? I think Presti knew that Harden would only get. Obviously, he didn't know that Harden would be an MVP candidate and everything, but I do think he knew that Harden needed the ball more to be more effective. And with Westbrook and Durant already on the team, that was never going to happen. So he was willing to pay him less than a max, but not a max, because you pay if all three those guys are on the same team, you never get the best of all of them.
Hindsight.
Even leading into that, you can see when you're on a court playing with 4 new people and you see the ball go around once or twice in a possession, you know who has to have the ball, whether they're good at it or not, and who will just move the ball instantly.
Hindsight, though, do you think they keep Westbrook again, or do you think they keep Harden?
I still think they keep Westbrook.
I don't know about that.
I think Ibaka doesn't leave that team, though. That's the thing. I think Ibaka and Adams are your front court. If Ibaka and Adams are your front court and you have Westbrook and then you add Paul George, you're there. And Oklahoma City, 2 years ago, they were the 3rd seed with Carmelo when Roberson got injured. And in this year, they were a 3rd or 4th seed.
They were
third again, and then they just had that streak that you can't have in the West, where they lost like 9 of 11, and they dropped all the way to 6 or 7 or something.
2 to 8 was so close.
No, and so I mean, as people look at like that as a failure, it's one was injury, and to win a title, you have to be healthy. You can't.
Paul
win
George
healthy.
was playing MVP caliber basketball for most of the season until that streak happened.
Well,
he hurt his shoulder.
He hurt his shoulder. He hurt something.
And again,
didn't he get his rotator cuff operated on the next week?
I think so.
Yeah, he did.
But I mean, again, so that's another injury thing. So I mean, and as people talk about, the Oklahoma City window, they haven't. They're right there.
They're still there. But then the what everyone kind of is worried about is Westbrook's athleticism and the injury history and most of his games predicated on his athleticism.
That's the thing. Is like
the moment that starts to slip, his shooting's going down. He's not improving his shot.
No.
He's not improving his 3-point shot. There's a lot of things that are out the window for him. So like
but if he just shoots a little less,
very much the Cam Newton effect.
But which we were talking about earlier.
He fixes. You know,
if he just shoots 5 shots less a game, though, even if the percentages all stay the same, then that's maybe 2 extra assists and maybe another offensive rebound, and that'll help them. And the other thing is, if they were a bad matchup for Golden State as well, if Paul George was healthy, because it's harder to defend. Clay would have to defend Westbrook, and then if they had it with Jeremy Grant or whoever else is playing the 2, then that becomes a little bit of an offensive advantage with Curry trying to defend them defensively. They've just had bad luck with injuries, as most teams that don't win do. I mean, Houston would have been in the finals 2 years ago if Chris Paul plays in Game 6 and 7.
You're right.
Maybe.
Well,
No, because we think this year with Durant out, Houston's going to roll. They don't.
Well,
no. But
they
they
didn't
still
have
got to play the
advantage.
games.
They also missed 27 straight 3-pointers.
But they didn't. They didn't have Umba Munte, and they didn't have one of their other guys. They lost 2 of their defensive wings. They weren't as good
They
defensively.
hit 2 of those threes. They win. Like they went on a streak.
Well, the thing is,
really unheard of.
Even if if their streak, if they only missed their last 15, but when they hit one of those earlier and they have like a bigger lead, it changes the entire game.
So no, we're not looking at the Western Conference Finals. Currently, you had the Warriors at first at 57 and 25, followed by the Nuggets, Trailblazers, Rockets, Jazz, Thunder, Spurs, Clippers, Kings.
Jazz
Lakers.
were where?
Jazz were at 5.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that I think the Warriors plummet, and right there, Lakers are immediately slipping into the playoffs. They're already taking one of those spots. And then on top of that, you got the Kings there. I think the Spurs.
It's in your phone.
Yeah.
I think the Spurs and Warriors slip. I mean, I don't know.
So you're saying Sacramento and the Lakers jump in?
Yeah, possibly. And the Timberwolves are still building. They still have a shot. And then the Pels.
How long are you going to build, man?
I mean, you're right, but
For which team? I'm sorry.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota is going to be the one to blow it up. They're going to trade. They're going to have to find a partner for Wiggins. I mean, they're not trading Karl Anthony Towns.
They're not trading Towns.
And honestly, I don't think that he wants to go anywhere yet.
But who wants that Wiggins deal?
Who wants to be in Minnesota?
Well, I don't even think it's about Minnesota. Again, when Prince was alive, a lot of people wouldn't mind being there. He played post-game concerts for them and things like that.
Who wants
it's not
that
about
Wiggins
that.
contract?
Well, that's somebody with a worse contract.
I mean, he can at least average 20 points. It's better than the Chris Paul and John Wall deals.
And the other thing is we don't know.
He can actually average way more than that. We don't know actually what he can do.
And this is why I wish that he had
Yes, he
stayed
do. He's been in the league like
Cleveland.
5 years.
I wish he had stayed with
But he didn't have
LeBron.
good leadership. I mean, he goes to Minnesota. There's no veterans there, and then he's like, "Oh, this is good enough."
And he's playing with Tibbs. His style of coaching does not.
Worked for Jimmy Butler.
Well, Wiggins and
First
Butler are
time.
two
but I
different
mean,
players.
but Butler was already kind of, he had the chip to prove. Butler was not a first overall pick. Butler was like, "Hey, you do this, you'll be an all-star," and he was. And so it's like, okay, that worked.
they're not the same player. They're not
that's-
wired. And they're wired differently. And also,
That's one of the
Butler
Hornets
defensively.
rumors. That's one of the Hornets rumors.
What, trading
is
for Wiggins?
Wiggins, because he has 4 years on his deal, and Batum only has 2 years, and that gives Minnesota would do it because they'll get out from under a contract like that 2 years earlier.
How have I not seen this rumor?
Because again, there's people that let things out because they want people to know things, and people that keep things quiet because they don't want people to know things.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you.
And this was from a while ago as well.
Well, if it's from a while ago,
Not
Me
like
personally,
when I say a while ago, like 6 weeks.
as a Hornets fan, I would love that trade.
And the thing is, even though Wiggins is underperformed, he's more along the timeline of where the Hornets need to be because he's like 4 years younger.
23, 24 still.
Well, he
And
signed the extension. So I mean, how old was he when he came in? 18. So
He was 18 when he
So he did
came
the
in.
first 4 years and the fifth. So he's 23,
He didn't go-
maybe.
He didn't go to college.
No, he did. He went to Kansas.
Oh, excuse
He was a
me.
teammate with Embiid.
No. I was thinking he was young as shit when he went to Kansas.
No, he was. I think he was 17.
He was like 17.
He
He
and
came
Embiid
out of
played
Canada. And
So-
that was 6 years ago.
Well,
Yeah,
this
he's
will be his
24.
first year. This will be year 5, I think, coming up.
Yeah, he's 24.
So this would, but I mean, that's 5 years younger than Batum.
But as a Hornets fan, that's the kind of deal that's the kind of swing you need to take. You need to try and draft a guy who maybe has not lived up to their full potential, needs a new change of scenery, yada yada yada. This whole
Well, it's an entirely different thing. Is Batum has shown he is much better as the third or fourth guy.
should
But
have
when you
been
get
one or two.
when you get that money, though, you need to be the expectations change. With Wiggins and the way that everything kind of focused on Karl Anthony Towns, and maybe he didn't get some of the things they needed, and the style of play didn't benefit his skill set. If the Hornets are continuing at up tempo, the one thing they don't have is a wing player that can finish at the rim, and he can kind of fill that.
who's the
role.
last guy we've had that could do that?
That's what
Can't think of
I think his name was Larry Johnson
yeah, no.
or Eddie Jones. Well, Barron's straight point guard.
I would love
Jamal Mashburn couldn't even really finish like that. He wasn't an elevator.
Now, anyone. I mean, Wiggins.
How
came
many
into the
former
league-
Heat guys did I mention in that?
Eddie Jones and Jamal Mashburn.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Just think about that. But no, that kid
I
had
like
the,
Eddie for us.
he had
Oh,
the
no, I
nickname.
mean, he played great.
Wiggins has the nickname Maple Jordan for a reason. The kid's athletic as shit, and I don't think he's actually fully lived up to his potential just yet. And he's
No,
still
he
young
hasn't.
enough. He's still young enough to prove that he can.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
Maple Jordan, a slowly dripping Michael Jordan.
It just sticks to the tree.
But just think about this right now, though. The Lonzo to Zion lobs.
But again, with that,
How many assists does Lonzo average game if he's healthy?
If he's healthy,
He's primary ball handler now.
with Zion
Yeah.
and Holiday there.
Holiday needs to go.
I think Holiday needs
Boot
to
him.
stay.
Boot him.
I don't
Send him
think
out
so.
for picks.
Don't think so.
Anything,
I think
anything that anybody that would take him, you get rid of.
Someone
that.
will take him.
You don't, and again, you think they have a potential to be playoffs.
He'd be nice in
They
Minnesota.
don't care.
Drew Holiday would be nice in Minnesota.
He would be. Oh yeah, that might be something they need because Rose is still older. They don't like playing T.
No, he'd be great in Chicago.
You're not going to get that good of a pick out of him though.
You get that 7.
But just get
you
rid
get
of
that 7.
Well, honestly, if
Holiday's not worth the 7 at his age and money.
no, honestly, if you get
He's
a set
29?
if
Something like
you're New Orleans and you can send him to Chicago and you get a second round pick and a bum that's like $8 million or less, you do it.
I mean,
You're selling a player whose dad is going to be telling him for the rest of his career you don't want to be in New Orleans, that you're committing to him. The best way to do that, get rid of the other point guard, and then now that you're on the floor as long as you're healthy. And if he is healthy, if he's healthy to say 65 games, which he hasn't done either season yet,
What's he been around? 45, 50?
some 50 might be high.
Yeah.
I know you have Lonzo, Randall. They find a rim protector.
They got to re-sign Randall.
They got to re-sign Randall, but you keep Randall. You got Lonzo coming in. Who knows who they get with the 4? If they get RJ,
Well, even if they don't get RJ, if they get Hunter at the 4, who's a excellent wing defender, can shoot from 3 and can finish around. If you have Hunter and Zion and Lonzo coming down the break, and then you also have Hart and potentially Ingram, I think he's borderline 12 assists. I think he's borderline. I think he's borderline. I think he's 10, 11 points, 12. I think he averages more assists than points, and then I think he's about 7 to 8 rebounds.
I'm just saying and I was talking about. I kind of came onto this yesterday. I was talking about a rookie coming in with a team with that many assets, as far as like just young talent that's all in top 3 picks.
We listed about 4 teams immediately.
Not really. I mean, we were talking about teams that actually tanked. I mean, you listed teams that were like
you first off, and this is one of the bigger disagreements and the things that I get on John about is what he thinks he says is never what he actually says, and everybody always answers the question he says, and then he tells us later how we were wrong. Where it's like, no, say what you actually mean.
Okay, for teams that were
not in the playoffs.
Yeah, not in the playoffs, or teams that just had one off because of injuries. Like, for example, you brought up the 1979 Tim Duncan.
Well, I brought up Tim Duncan.
That was kind of that Spurs team was good.
They were in the Western Conference Finals like 2 years before that.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I'm just saying.
Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz fits because they had a number 1 overall and a number 3 pick.
They're both all-stars.
And they still had like 2 other 3 because I think Okafor was still on the team. Noel had been traded by that point.
Okay, I'm talking about like super duper stars coming into the league. Like LeBron, no. Kobe, no. Like Kobe wasn't even. Nobody even knew Kobe was going to be Kobe when he came to the league.
But again, nobody thinks Zion is going to be LeBron.
No one does.
John does.
Well, it's basketball wise, but he has to be picked because we were talking about as John pointed out that he was only one of 3 people of the 4 that are on the thing that had seen him play in person. Is that the reason that you draft Zion is the sound the crowd makes when he enters the building for just warm-ups.
Insanity.
It's just everybody stands up and cheers, and it's like, I don't want to miss anything.
Like I was bringing up, I saw prime Shaq play. I saw Kobe playing in his prime. I saw LeBron playing in his prime. I've never seen someone on the court like that.
Okay, so first basket is definitely a dunk. I think it'll be the breakaway because that's what it was when he came back in the ACC tournament. Mm-hmm. It was a turnover, and before you could follow the ball like tennis and turn, he was already beyond half court because it's as big as he is. And some of our camera guys have played athletics in college on scholarship, and they're not terrifically impressed by his uniqueness because effectively, if he loses a little weight, if he trims down 20 pounds. He's like every other guy in the NBA.
Well, that's what makes him different.
But what makes him different is being the bigger guy.
Yeah, I don't think he has to lose any weight.
I don't think he does either. He just needs to maintain it. He needs to just not get heavier. And if he can shape it, like if he works out and he moves it more into muscle and maybe get a little less fat content, then that's where he needs to be because that helps him for the length of the season.
Who knows what his body fat is actually though? Like he's
a big.
He's constructed differently than people that you don't see people like.
I saw a picture of him in the pool. What fat?
Yeah, well,
exactly.
that's one of the things.
That's
is
what
when
I'm
you
saying.
see,
Like he's constructed in a manner that just.
There's a video of him throwing a football on the beach.
Well, it's like
guy looks like a Greek god.
You seen Aaron Donaldson
280.
like
Exactly.
in person?
Same
It's like
thing.
if you see him standing by himself, it's like, oh, that's like a 6'2" guy who's like in really good shape. No, that guy's like 6'4", like 300 pounds.
Well, no. Donaldson's only like 6'2".
Yeah, he's short, but I mean,
He's 6'2", and he weighs like what 270. I think.
it's a ridiculously ripped.
Well, just think
270.
about that. Add 5 inches and add like possibly 15, 20 more pounds, and you have Zion.
Well, that was at the beginning of the NBA season last year when Zion was entering college. Only Bobovich with the Sixers now was heavier
than him.
heavier
Yeah,
than
so,
him
I mean,
in the NBA.
I mean,
But again, Marcus All
proje-
was totally heavier than
we
him.
keep talking projections. I think with that team, the way it's constructed as of right now, I think he averages 20 and 10, easy.
I don't.
Conley just got traded.
To who?
To who?
Utah Jazz for
Yep.
Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, Jay Crowder, and the 23rd pick.
Memphis ended up pretty good.
They have done a pretty good. I
I mean, Korver's got a year left, maybe. If he's
yeah, but I think Grayson Allen.
Korver's going to get a buyout, and he's going to end up with the Lakers.
Yeah.
He's going to be ended up with the Lakers by the All-Star game.
Absolutely,
I love
gonna
it.
end up with
I
the
love
Lakers.
it.
Korver's going to be a Laker by
I
the All-Star
love it.
game.
But no, and I know I keep showing my Duke bias. I think Grayson Allen has a lot of potential to be.
Well,
pretty good.
he's got to be kind of real. Well, and again,
And the 23rd pick, I mean, Utah
that's
didn't
just
lose
whatever.
much.
No,
they didn't lose much
didn't.
at all.
Because Allen didn't once. Well, that's the weird thing is, but getting but
It's
Conley,
basically
Conley is everything.
It's basically Korver and
They didn't
Crowder
give
for
up-
Conley.
They didn't give up Rubio.
No.
They keep him for the second team. That's a plus.
Well, no. I think Rubio gets shipped too.
For what?
No,
He's gonna get shipped.
he's a great backup point guard.
I don't think
He
there's a
is.
big market for him either.
No,
is a
there's
big
not
market
because he
for him.
can't shoot. He
Exactly.
doesn't shoot.
He doesn't shoot, and I mean
Rubio for Chris Paul.
He did have numbers. He was when he
was
had
scoring
uptick in his
some.
shooting. He was scoring some, and his 3-point shooting got better, but he's still actually relatively
No, as
young.
a backup point
How old
guard,
is
it's
Rubio?
fantastic.
Statman. Look up Rubio's age.
He's only going to be able to. Well, the interesting thing is Grayson Allen's got to be kind of excited because with John Morant averaging the assists he is, the way that he breaks down defenses, Allen's going to be open a lot for some shots. And also it brings him about 1,500 miles closer to where his girlfriend plays. She's a soccer player for the Carolina team up in Raleigh or whatever.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
She played at Duke. She's very good.
Well, no, just trying to look up how old Ricky Rubio is.
But that locks in Memphis with John Morant. So that's done and done. So now it's R.J. Barrett going as early as 3 or the Knicks nicking.
They're saying the rumor has it that the Pacers are chasing after Ricky Rubio. So
That would kind of fit with them because that way Oladipo doesn't have to carry the ball as much.
Ricky Rubio is still only 28. I feel like he's
Well, I
been
mean, he was drafted as a 17-year-old.
he's only 28.
I know he's been in the league forever.
It's crazy.
Didn't
when
Minnesota
you think about
draft
that.
3 point guards that year?
Yeah.
Johnny Flynn.
Johnny Flynn
out of the NBA. And
they
somebody
passed
else
on Curry.
And somebody else. It's like all the guys they drafted on it gone, and then Rubio's still bouncing around.
No, there's Flynn, Rubio, and it was who's that other guy?
There was another guy. Was it wasn't Ty Jones? Was it?
No,
it wasn't him.
That was way later.
That was way later. Ty Jones came out in 2015. That was 12 years. Jeez, that was 12 years ago.
So yeah, he was a 17-year-old when he was drafted.
Yeah, he was 17, coming out of Spain
As a starter on their international team, which included Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and somebody else who bounced around the NBA as well.
Let's see. We can go.
Calderon, he was on that team as well.
Mm-hmm.
That draft, Blake
The Spain
Griffin.
team?
The Spain, yeah.
Rudy Fernandez
Yes.
went to Portland for a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. He
I
was.
love Rudy Fernandez.
He could jump.
He could jump. He was great. I was always kind of shocked he didn't last in the league as long as he could have.
Well, that was the discussion that we had is that it's so important about systems and coaches and fitting people in the best way possible. And that San Antonio typically adapts to what their players can do and makes that work. And then other people just, this is our system and you got to work with this.
Yeah, no, they took Rubio and Flynn, and then Curry went.
God, how different would be everybody's wearing Minnesota jerseys now? How crazy is that?
Drew Holiday came out that year too, and so did Jeff Teague.
Yeah, that was like point guard. That's 5 point guards right there. Teague ended up being with.
No.
Minnesota as well.
I mean, James Harden and Tyreke Evans came out that year, and also I never even mentioned Brandon Jennings.
So what we got, like 8 points? See, that's the thing is the NBA and the draft. They're looking for their primary ball handlers / point guards, and they're big
2009.
guys, and they're big guys. Because if you unless you're Hunter or Culver, who's shown that you can do a couple of different things, the 6'5" to 6'9" wing guy, it's like whatever, we can always find that guy. They're the running back of the NBA. It's like, oh, we can always find a running back. We don't have to draft one high. It's like, okay, we happen to get one that's really good. We can let him go, pay another one. One-fifth the amount.
Funny thing you bring a running back. I was talking about Christian McCaffrey, and I don't think he's a top 5 running back.
He's a top 2 or 3 running back.
I don't think so.
Did you not see the conversation me and John had? I even tagged you to say, help me out here.
No,
it was abysmal.
I did not even want to get involved in that.
It was terrible. You know what John's argument about McCaffrey was? Well, if you take out these 6 games, this is what he averaged. That's a third of the season.
I get that, but those 6 games...
How many catches did he have last year?
He had 2,000.
107.
He set the Panthers' franchise record for all-purpose yards.
And that was... How many running backs had more receptions than that?
100 receptions. What I was trying to tell Josh in that argument is the fact that the reason why he had that kind of productivity as far as out of catching the ball in the backfield is because Cam couldn't throw it to anyone else.
Well,
it sounds like defenses were key on him then.
Wait a second. Remember when Norv Turner was hired?
Oh no, I know you called him like, and then once I started thinking about why do you think I drafted Christian McCaffrey in every fantasy draft I had last year?
He doesn't think he's a good every down back.
I don't think he is.
5 yards a carry, 8 yards a catch. 1,985 yards.
He is. What's
and
again? This is what you thought you were saying as opposed to what you were saying. Situation again, but again, what qualifies as a good every down back?
No, what I was trying to say before we get to that,
I don't ever want to get in these conversations on Facebook because they get too hard. I want to have them face to face.
Yeah, no,
I saw it and I was like, oh,
I stopped.
God.
I said, I'm done. I'm taking a nap.
Well, no, what I was trying to tell Josh is that he got.
You see where I bail on our conversation.
He was averaging almost 7.5 yards per carry in those 6 games compared to the other games where he had 3 point or under per carry in the 10 other games.
The idea of comparing somebody's season by taking their good games out is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I'm just saying he had.
All right, let's take out all of. Let's take out.
Let's
take out 29 of Harden's games this season.
Is Peppers,
which is a third of the season? What you're trying to do?
He still averages 30 a game.
Is
not
Peppers
36?
not
Way
36?
Still, but
the difference between 5 and 3.9.
30 in the NBA.
It's a dumb idea.
No, it's not because you go from 5 yards a carry down to almost 3.5 yards a carry.
Is Julius Peppers a Hall of Fame defensive end? Hall of Fame football player?
Okay, we're not going to compare defensive ends to running
Why?
backs.
Because it's sacks, and if you take the 3 best sacks games from any defensive end, they're nobody.
And
you
John
do that for
and he wants to take 6 games out, over a third of the season.
No, regardless of that, it doesn't matter. 100 catches in a West Coast offense where the running back catching the ball
touchdowns.
is important.
13 or 14 touchdowns.
And the fact that he can actually get 4, even if he doesn't have the 5+, 4 yards a carry.
That's 3.5.
3.5. You know what happens if you get 3.5 yards a carry on 3 consecutive carries?
First down. I get that.
So he does both of the things that you want to do without having to put somebody else on the field.
I get what you're saying.
Unless you take away his best 6 games.
What I'm saying is that he got a lot of his productivity out of just almost 3 games. Not even 6. Almost 3 games. He got all of his.
You remember Cam Newton's rookie year?
Yeah, he.
What did he do in his first 2 games?
Threw for 400 yards.
900 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Well, excuse me, he threw for 400 yards a game.
Well, there was only 2 people to ever throw for 400 yards in 2 consecutive games. Well, 3 people, and 2 of them did it at the exact same time. Cam Newton and Tom Brady did it both in those opening 2 weekends. Yeah. Brady hit over 500, I think, on both of them. And Newton had the 500.
I don't think Cam's ever thrown for 400 yards.
Well, but the thing is, you take out 900 yards and 5 touchdowns in his rookie season. That's 2 games.
Are you going to take out the first 3 games Ryan Fitzpatrick had last year where he had 1,200 yards?
It's magic. And like 8 touchdowns.
Hindsight's a motherfucker. Would you keep Fitzpatrick then at starting?
He's a Dolphin. I'll take him now.
And by the way, the only guy that beat New Orleans until like the defenses showed up at the end of the season. Yeah. He out threw both of them. He out threw that team.
What I was trying to say is that your guys like Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, so Zeke. Zeke can't catch the ball the way that either one of those 2 guys can.
He never really is.
Zeke already appears to be declining.
Well, we don't know that.
Well,
there's a lot of just off-field shit that goes on.
Most of that isn't even that part. It's that since his rookie year, the Cowboys have not been re-signing their offensive linemen. They've lost like 3 starting offensive linemen from his rookie year to this year, and that affects a lot of things. And what makes McCaffrey more impressive is that Carolina's offensive line, while having an All-Pro on it the last couple of years, has not been as consistently good as the elite level offensive lines. And he was still able to do that, which is what makes what Barkley did so exceptional, is that he had no quarterback to help and no offensive line, and he still did all the things that he did. And so you said Zeke and Barkley, so that still puts McCaffrey at 3.
No.
I mean, Gurley, do you think Gurley's going to be a top 3 running back this year?
I think Gurley is a top.
Coming back from this knee injury that we don't know
He's
about?
having an arthritic knee issues.
Melvin Gordon
can't pass the ball.
Le'Veon
catch
Bell.
the ball. Le'Veon Bell, who apparently was 50 pounds.
And Alvin Kamara.
Kamara is really good. Now, Kamara is going to be an interesting test because he's actually going to have to play full-time minutes this year.
Right?
Yeah, Ingram's gone, so he's going to have to play full minutes.
Where'd Ingram go? Seattle? Something like that?
I don't think it was Seattle because I would have remembered that one immediately.
See, what I'm saying is that
It was a playoff team, though.
I'm not going to
could
lie.
have been.
I'm not going to lie with McCaffrey in the top 5 just yet. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. What he's going to do this year with a healthy Cam who can actually throw beyond 10 yards.
Well, I mean, if
Cam can even throw beyond 10 yards,
So
we don't even know.
You think he's going to have a worse season with a quarterback that takes the pressure off? With a better quarterback takes the pressure off?
I think with Cam being able to actually spread the ball more, I think he doesn't. I don't think he gets 107 catches.
No, but I think his yards per catch will go up because the top level of the defense will be further downfield.
Potentially, we'll see. It's going to be. I'm just
Baltimore.
saying. It'll be very curious to see what happens.
He's going to get a lot of carries, and he's going to get hit a lot. Like
9
people in the box.
As someone who loves to play fantasy football, I would say I'm expecting Christian McCaffrey to actually have a drop off year compared to what he had last year.
At what play on Baltimore's offense during their first game will we see 11 men in the box? I mean, we'll get 9 on the opening snap unless they put 5 receivers out there, and even then it might be 8.
I think I'm just saying with Hogan, Moore, and Samuel, and a healthy Cam, and them not having to rely on McCaffrey to do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Who are some of the consistently 2 best running backs, yardage and touchdowns over the last 30 years? Emmitt Smith would be one of those guys. Would LaDainian Tomlinson be one of those guys?
That might be the top 2.
Who is their offensive coordinator, by the way? Do you happen to remember who their coach was?
North Turner.
Oh, was it now? Was it?
What did North Turner do with LTU?
Was North Turner the coach with Washington when Clinton Portis was there?
Let's just see what happens.
Was he there? Was he there?
Clinton Portis was there, yes. We'll see what happens. Okay?
1,500 yards.
He also didn't have anyone like Cam Newton, and I'm just saying.
I mean, Troy Aikman isn't like that, but the way that football was played is entirely
completely different. But I'm just saying, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be...
I mean, Jim McMahon had, 3 games his entire career passing for more than 200 yards?
Once again,
Terry Bradshaw has as many touchdowns as interceptions. It's like 136 to 136.
Let's not even talk about guys.
0. What's your interception touchdown rate? Equal.
All time best Steelers quarterback ever. I'm like, what?
Look at Joe Namath.
They called his own. Well, he legitimately was the first person to pass for 3,000 yards in a season. So I mean, at least that's something.
Joe Namath is famous for winning 1 game.
He's famous for winning 1 game.
Well, he's famous for winning a game he told you he would win. That's what he's famous for.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
right.
he has more interceptions than touchdowns.
Anyways, guys,
his is a negative.
I'm actually kind of thinking about ending this sports segment. I'm actually really I really want to discuss something he just showed me about the pop culture stuff. They're re-releasing Endgame.
Yeah, I'm totally down with doing a pop culture one. I just ordered food. Let's do it.
They're re-releasing Endgame with a stinger.
You wanna?
Yeah. Anyway, so guys, thank you for listening to Simon Says Sports Bets, whatever. Anyone want to do a plug or anything? Anything you want to say?
None. Just Bukkake Josh signing off. They call me Bukkake Josh because I'm an expert in load management.
You've been saving that, haven't you?
Since I went to the bathroom upstairs.
It's a fantastic line.
Anyways, guys, Jerry, anything for you?
The NBA will do everything it can to have Golden State play the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs next year.
Lakers fall to 10th. Bye.
No, you don't mean that.
Excuse me, Warriors. Why is it? The last team you said it was Lakers, and that's just
it was.
It was the last team you said. Warriors dropped to 10th.
Oof. Ouch.